You are watching live from Irwin Lee Field here in Geronimo, Texas, where tonight the Navarro Panthers take on the Jarrell Cougars. Stay tuned for the Panther football game preview show next. You are watching Panther football here live on the Navarro Panther Network, powered by the Panther Posse. Live from Irwin Lee Field here in Geronimo, Texas. My name's Lance Blackburn. I'm your play-by-play announcer tonight. I'm here with Hank Peter, the voice of the Panthers. It's 85 degrees, winds southeast to east, 10 miles an hour, and it's a perfect night for some football.
Yeah, we got the band out here. You know, normally they perform at halftime, but tonight it's homecoming, HOCO 2022.
That's right. We have the Panthers. You know, last week we had a good old time out in Lago Vista, Texas.
Yeah.
Man, it was fun. And the Panthers upped their record to 3-3. They went 1-0 in district, with a nice victory over a good Lago Vista football team, 42-21. And tonight they'll come in and we're going to play our second district game against the Jarrell Cougars, who are coming off a loss, a pretty good little loss, Hank, to the Wimberley Texans out in Wimberley last week, 73-14.
Ooh, my goodness.
But I tell you what, let's talk a little bit about the Panthers and kind of what went right. And you know, what glares out to me is the Panthers' offensive line is really starting to come together.
Yeah, they're starting to gel, and that's for sure. And I kept harping about it last week was that, you know, we had to give a player of the game that kind of, put a more emphasis on what the line did and not necessarily just what the back did. And I think with Colton Chambers being player of the game last week kind of showed that the line was gelling and doing their job and did a great job at that.
Right, and on top of the line gelling, we welcomed back some of our backfield. We got Antoine Mabane back, who had 152 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Who, man, I tell you, he's a heck of a player. We've sure missed him. Yeah. And then we also got back Colton Chambers, and Colton Chambers had a nice game where he had He had 3 touchdowns and 95 yards. But what I noticed more than anything is the quickness of hitting that hole.
Yeah.
Man, you know, the line was doing a good job, but boy, they were getting skinny, as they like to say, you know.
Yeah.
And they were getting through that hole very nicely. So.
Yeah, and they like you hear this all the time too. They were playing in a phone booth, and that's all the room they had. But that's all you need with the good backs. They hit that hole fast, and you only need that crease sometimes. And it doesn't have to be as big as a truck to get through. Just that crease for Chambers and McMain. And let's hope we see that tonight as well.
Yeah. So a little bit. Our offense is averaging about 299 yards a game, which accounts for about 91% of our offense. Our defense is passes a little bit lighter than what it's been in the past few years, about 30 yards a game, about 9% of our offense. So we're averaging about 329 yards a game on the offensive side of the ball. And so playing well. It seems like we're starting to gain a little momentum, and not only on the offensive side, but the defensive side. And,
right.
You know, the defense seems, you know, they played fast last week in my eyes, and they, you know, we've got 13 sacks on the season, and it's going to be the same story again tonight, I think, Hank. They've got a bunch of really, really good skill players, and we'll talk about Gerald here in a minute, but I think the defense is going to have to continue on that path of limiting the big plays that were killing us earlier in the season, and you know, we're only averaging. You think about almost every team we played is a spread team, right? So,
right.
I mean, passing yards completion percentage is only 46% by the opposition, which is really, really solid. You know, the defense they give up about 149 yards in the air. I'm sorry, and about 175 yards on the ground. So, about 324 yards a game total. But I tell you, since Case Monroe got hurt, you know, our stud senior linebacker went out with a knee injury the first game of the season. I tell you who's really, really caught my eye has been a couple players. Number one has been number 42, Jacob Arias,
yes,
who replaced him.
Agreed.
And you can really see him coming along. And then the other guy that I know you really like and has been playing really well in the secondary is Rangel, number 11.
Yeah.
And making plays, tackling low. And so, you know, the defensive line and our linebackers have really come on in the past few weeks. And they're going to, trust me, they're going to need to tonight as well.
Yeah, and those that have stepped up, it's who's next, you know. Somebody goes down, you've got to be ready. But just having some of those players now, I think, and the Panthers brought some up, and you're seeing the depth now increase for the Panthers that we didn't get to see early in the year. And so when you have that depth, you know, you can really rotate players in and out without worrying about, you know, having to deal with it in the fourth quarter where somebody's gassed and they can't go. I think the Panthers, with the depth, you're not losing a lot from one player to the next because they've got that playing time. There's no substitute for playing time. When you get out there and you play that game, you know, in a game, there's nothing else. In practice, you can't replicate it. You know, so when you see these players get real time, game time, playing time, that's going to show at the end.
So let's jump over to the Gerald side and do a little preview on Gerald. Gerald's a district foe, 13 4A, Division II. Their record's 2-4 overall. They're 0-1 in district. Last week they lost at Wimberley, as I mentioned, 73-14. And their 2 wins have been at Taylor at 26-20, and they also won at Caldwell, so 66-8. So they seem to play pretty decent on the road. They returned 5 starters on the offensive side and 5 starters on the defensive side. Last year their record was 2-8, and they're coached by Coach Marty Murr. So, but on offense, they basically they're a pretty balanced team, Hank. They 55% pass, 45% run. You could probably even technically say they're a 50-50 team.
Yeah.
But you know, one thing that did jump out to me is they do like the screen game a lot.
Yeah.
They like the screen game, and I tell you what, they have got some excellent skill players at the receivers. They've got a nice back. Their back is a junior, 5'8", 170, Jamari Neblett. But I tell you who makes the whole wheel go for the Cougars is their senior 6'2" quarterback, 185, is Andrew Knebel. And I tell you what, he's probably pound for pound and pass for pass the most accurate quarterback that we're going to see all year.
Yeah, and I mean, having over 1,300 yards coming in is what I show for max preps, and it could be a little more because I don't think they had the Wimberley game in those stats. But he seems to be very accurate when he can get his feet under him and make the throws that he needs to throw. I mean, when you have some good-sized receivers, and when Spradley, the junior. He's got 20 receptions and 462 yards and 6 touchdowns, and that's one of his big-time receivers that he likes to go after because he's really one of the best hands on the team, being at 6'1", and 190. That's a big-bodied
He's
receiver.
a big boy. He is a big boy, and they do catch the ball fairly well. If I do see a weakness on their team, though, I think their O-line's a little slow out of their stance. I'm not sure they use their leverage quite as well as some teams, and I think that we can get to them in using our quickness on our defensive line and some of our linebackers. And I think last week Wimberley did a very good job of that. Of course, Wimberley being as quick as cats, they always are, but I think that we can do that. So let's jump over to the defensive side of Gerald. Gerald's strength in their secondary. They have 9 interceptions. Of course, they've played a bunch of spread teams, so. But I tell you, a couple of players that caught my eye was number 1, Jalen Price, a senior. Man, he is a fast individual, and he's not a small guy. He is 5'9", but 165, but he's very athletic, incredible in coverage. The other guy that jumps out to me is number 13, Sammy Guerrero. He's a little guy. He's on the defensive line. They've got him listed at 5 foot and 175 pounds, which is.
He gets kind of lost in the mix there, and sometimes you don't see him coming around that corner, so.
So yeah, and then their leading tackler is their linebacker number 22, senior Malik Davis, and so they've got some talent on this team, and they've got some good athleticism, speed. And so this is not a team that the Panthers can overlook.
And this is what I was going to get at, was that this is, set up to be a trap game for the Panthers.
Right.
Because the, complacency is what you're trying to, prevent if you're Coach Blunt. You don't want to be content. You want to be able to have this team come out and fire. And Gerald's a good enough team. If you give them that confidence, a break goes their way here or there. I mean, they could give you a game. And so the Panthers have to come out and go, okay, this is just as tough a team that we're going to play all year long.
Right.
We got to come in with the mentality is we got to jump on them first, and we got to get after them. And that's, and that's what we need to see tonight for the Panthers because, again, we're fighting complacency and just not, just sitting around and, we beat these guys with their hands tied. No, it's not like that at all. Gerald's got good enough athletes that they'll be able to come out and they'll beat you, if you're not ready for them.
Right. The thing, if I would have to say there's a weakness on their defense, running the football straight at them has been a problem for them. So, and that plays very well into our hands.
Yeah, and if you look at what they did with Wimberley and what my understanding is that pretty much Wimberley could go, they could run the ball, and they did with their guys. They went right at them. And then they were able to throw the ball as well. But for the most part, Wimberley because they were able to establish the run against Gerald, it opened everything else up.
Correct.
So I think that's, tonight we're not looking to open up the passing game so much, but for the Panthers in a slot T. But it will open up other areas that if you run it right at them, right up the gut, that outside could be open all night long.
So that kind of concludes what I've got there for the Jarrell Cougars. I think it's time to bring in,
Well, we can always get Mr. Scott Kibbe to come over here, and we'll get with that as well. But there was a few other little notes I did want to talk about with Gerald.
Let's do it.
This is the 8th meeting between these two teams.
That's right.
Or the 9th meeting.
Okay.
And they've Gerald leads 5-8. 5-8 and 5-3 in that series. I was trying to get Scott so I got Scott his headphones, and so when I played them back in 1981, but showing my age. But we played them back in 1981. We lost 6-0. That was when both schools were 1A. So both schools have grown together. One's on the over there on the other side of Austin, and we're over here on this side of Austin and closer to San Antonio. But the size doesn't matter of the school, because these two schools have been going at it way back when. They haven't played each other since 1987, but we'll see how that goes. Now, we're bringing in Scott Kibbe. Scott Kibbe, the special to the Seguin Gazette. He's a correspondent with them, and he's also the Navarro statistician and historian. So, Scott, welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome to homecoming.
Yeah, good to be back at Derwinley Field.
Yeah, so you had some fun facts for us, and then we'll ask you some of the predictions in this game as well.
All right, for this, I just got a couple with playing Gerald. As you mentioned, Panthers haven't played Gerald since 1987. That is the longest span between playing an opponent in Navarro history. I believe second was Wimberley. We went 19 years, believe it or not, without playing Wimberley. Now we see them all the time.
Yeah, it's nothing new.
The other thing is, every one of those games, the first time we've ever played them when it has not been a season opener. From 78 to 81, from 84 to 87, played them all 8 of those years. As you mentioned, Gerald won 5. Every one of them was a season opener.
Wow, yeah, because that was our season opener. I remember a guy named Dwayne Krieger goes up for a pass, falls out, and breaks his collarbone on the very first game, and he was a senior that year, and we were really depending on him to catch the ball down the field. He caught the ball, but broke that. But 6-0, we were actually back then. We were actually happy that it was only that score, as opposed to like 35-0 or so. But Gerald's always been that team, though, that you just this year I would say is just that team. You don't know which team is going to show up. So what are your predictions tonight of what you think you'll see from Gerald and how the Panthers will deal with that?
I think they'll attack, try to get the big play, because I think that big play, they can feed off that, get some confidence, and that's obviously what Coach Blunt and the staff are the most worried about is giving them some confidence early after they got bruised so badly by Wimberley last week. For the Panthers, this is just a matter of, you played great last week, looked very good. You got a big one next week. It's how you play. It's getting better every week, and that's what they've got to focus on. They want to continue to build on what they did last week in order to be ready for what's very likely to be the district championship game next week in Wimberley.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is the big one where we can at least more than likely secure, second place with the win tonight, like you said, and then the district championship probably be on the line next week against Wimberley. But when isn't that the case?
It is. It's one of those things that's just inevitable. No matter how things look in the preseason, it seems like we always come down to Navarro and Wimberley for the district championship, and we will always see Cuero in the playoffs. It doesn't matter. They're in a different region now. That's a good sign for us. Maybe in the semis.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, man, Scott, thank you for that, and we'll be looking forward to your stats at halftime. So, again, thanks a bunch.
You bet. Thank you.
So now I think we're going to go to the coach's interview with Coach Blunt.
Good evening. This is Hank Dietert with the Navarro Panther Network. I'm down on the field with Coach Rod Blunt, the head coach of your Navarro Panthers. Coach, thank you for joining us tonight.
I appreciate you for having us and all you'll do for us.
All right, thank you for that. All right, Coach, got the big win last week, 42-21 over Lago Vista. So how's your team feel after that big first district win?
A little more confident, upbeat. We knew we had it. We just had to get everybody back, put it all together. They did a great job of going out there and playing their tails off and picking up a win. That was a big one for Start District.
So in that game, what did you think was the biggest difference that you saw from earlier in the season to that game that night?
Coming out and focused, continuing to play, And, guys made some big plays when they had the opportunity to, and kind of lifted everybody and got behind each other and got rolling, and that's kind of what we need. I saw the guys come together. First long run, we got a lot of guys sprinting down, celebrating in the end zone and playing for each other.
All right, Coach. Now, I know this week you got to fight a little bit of that, everybody being content and such, because we saw that Gerald lost 73-14 to Wimberley. And I always felt, looking at some of the other games that Gerald had played, it looks like they're a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of team. You don't know which team's coming out tonight.
Exactly. They won some games that we didn't think they were going to, but if they get any momentum at all, they go sky high and they play lights out. Just the opposite of that. If we're able to get some things, they might not play as well. But it's always been about us becoming the best team that we can. We wanted to be a good team when we got to district. We want to be a great team by the time we get to the playoffs. And this is another step for us to come out, make sure we continue to clean up on our penalties and doing all the little things right.
Well, they have a quarterback back there, and some call him Nebel, but the quarterback has been able to throw over 1,300 yards for the season, so he's no slouch. So what are you going to have to do to slow him down and getting to his big receivers?
He's a special young man. He's at the top of a lot of lists as the top prospects in his class. We got to get some pressure on him, and we got to stay on their receivers. They have extremely good athletes at receiver, a lot of talent, and a lot of good players, and so we got to do a great job in coverage and get him some pressure. If you give him time, he's going to be able to pick you apart.
Now, you've had good defensive play. Last week, you had a quarterback that was more of a running quarterback last week as opposed to this week, but are you going to have to send your defensive line? Your defensive front has done an amazing job in that last game, and they've been getting better every week. So on your front seven, what are they taught to do this week against Gerald?
They got to continue to play the way they have been. They've been doing a great job of putting pressure on quarterbacks this year. Last week they did a great job of being sound and taking care of their gap and not giving the quarterback an opportunity to pull it. This guy's the same way. He doesn't like to run it as much, but when he pulls it, he is dangerous, so we got to do the same thing and keep him in the pocket. But we got to put pressure on him, make sure he's uncomfortable.
And real quick, I know they have two different types of backs. One's more of a power back, the other one's more of a speedy, shifty type of back. So what do you have to do as far as when you see one back in versus the other? Do you change your defense?
No, sir. We just got to make sure that we're physical with them, wrapping up, grabbing cloth, and getting them to the ground. Six, he's more of a speed back, but he can run with some power as well. And when he gets behind his shoulder pad, so we got to do a great job of bringing our feet and make sure we're running through contact and grabbing cloth and bringing them down.
All right, Coach. Then on their offensive side, it's control the ball again, I would expect. What do you think your football team has to do on the offensive side to keep this rolling from what you had last week?
We got to continue to make sure we're not hurting ourselves with penalties, with holding. We did a better job last week of keeping our hands inside and keeping them in tight. So we got to continue to do that. Offensive line is getting smoother each week. We need to take another step back, so we've got to continue to protect the football and make that big play when they have a chance. But it's just we're looking for 3.5 every play, and if we get more, we're excited and happy for it.
All right, Coach. And on your special teams, you had good coverage, I thought, from what I saw of the game. And what are you looking at for special teams this week?
Just taking that other step. These guys may be a little more dangerous in the kickoff return game. Got a little more speed back there. Two guys that can go at any point. So we got to do a great job of getting down there, covering those kicks, and making sure we're putting pressure on them when they kick.
All right, Coach, last thing, your 3 keys to victory tonight.
Same as last week, we got to make sure that we win the penalties, win the turnovers, and win on special teams.
All right, Coach, thank you for that. Wish you all the best of luck.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Welcome back here to Irwin Lee Field here on homecoming night. Hank, we're going to jump into the keys to the game, and Mine, pretty obvious one, is control the line of scrimmage with the offensive line and run, run, run. That's my first one. You want to jump into one for?
Yeah, I mean, mine is on the defensive side. Is you got to, as you were going to say too, the pressure to quarterback, and you got to pressure the quarterback. But I want him running. I want him running for his life every single play.
He does change. He changes as a quarterback when he's running for his life, and I think based off of what Wimberly did to him last week, he's a different quarterback. But you let him sit back in that pocket and fire, and it could be a long night.
Oh yeah.
And then of course the third one would be go ahead and win the turnover battle. I know we say that a bunch, and we've been saying it every week, but we're -6 in the turnover ratio for the year. So I'd like to start chipping away at that, especially going into a big game next week.
Yeah, we heard Coach Blunt say that all the time. But, man, really hold on to the football. Sometimes you think, oh, well, that's easy to do. I mean, you literally have to practice that. That is something you have to practice is holding on to the football, taking hits from different angles, positioning of the ball when you are going to get hit. How you fall is sometimes very important because as you're falling, you get hit. If you chicken wing it, that ball comes out as you're going down. You've got to learn those things. Those are, people think, well, that's just something you do. It's inherited sort of thing. No, it's a learned, a learning curve that every back and every skill position that handles the ball has to know.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. I know it sounds like I'm making a big deal out of nothing, but if you don't practice it, and was my theory. And when I coached youth football, there's always you play like you practice like you play.
Correct. And you're exactly right. Turnovers, they decide most football games. So yeah, ball security and learning that, whether you learn it at 8 or you learn it at 18.
Right.
That's very important. So.
Yeah, and I'm excited because as much as the Panthers, they really surprised me last week, and I am stoked right now because we can see this Panther team, take it to the next level. Now, they don't have to beat Gerald 73-14 to prove any points because, like Wimberly did. We're a running football team, so that clock's going to run all the time, and you're not just going to, run up the score that easily as a running football team. And I think we just got to be careful. This is a setup to be a trap game.
It is. But it's homecoming night, and we've got the captains. Our captains are number 13, Landon Taylor, number 14, Bryce Nall, and number 21, Diego Chapa.
And those three are your captains tonight, and they've been leaders for the most part all year. Chapa's just coming back off injury, and it was great having him back last week, especially on that defensive side.
Your Panthers are wearing their purple helmets with the traditional N on the helmet, the purple jerseys with the gold numbers, and the black pants. Gerald, on the other hand, is in all white tonight, white helmets, white jerseys, and white pants with the blue numbers.
Well, that's I've had some people tell me they're looking to get a little payback for us losing that 6-0. So let's hope that's true tonight.
Everyone, please rise once again to honor the colors and for the playing of our national anthem. The flag raisers tonight are the Guadalupe Valley Young Marines under the direction of Unit Commander Dillon.
Well, the flags are flying tonight, so we got a little wind there.
We got a little south-southeast wind, but the Panthers are ready to go, and hopefully you're ready for some Navarro Panther football here on the Navarro Panther Network. I'm Lance Blackburn. I'm your play-by-play, and I'm here with Hank Dietert, the voice of the Panthers. So here we go, folks. Our Panthers will be receiving the football. Gerald kickoff from their own 40. That means Gerald will get the second half kickoff.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. I think the Panthers, though, are really wanting the ball this time because they want to be able to take it, and see how their offense can control this game tonight right off the bat. Or at least that's what I want to see.
It's football time in Texas. Are you ready?
The crowd's pumped tonight. Homecoming, full crowd.
Now, he kicks it deep over the head and out of bounds.
What a break.
So that'll
Goes out of bounds.
And,
that'll be a penalty, sorry.
Yeah, Gabriel
for the Panthers.
Yeah, Gabriel Rangel that's a smart play. You get it back out at the 35-yard line, for the Panthers. I'm sorry, the 30. I always think of the at the college level, I believe it's 35.
Right.
I get the two mixed up. Let's see. Well, so easy enough to show that they start on the 30, Lance. So, look.
So we are going to split. We're going to
Wow.
split two guys out to the far side, Colton Chambers and Colton Schulke, but they do hand it
Oh, my goodness.
up the middle, and I think that's Cohen Blunt.
Yeah, right away. I mean, we're gonna start out with the freight train coming in, the locomotive.
And I tell you what, he picks up 10 on that play, and he was running hard.
Yeah,
And for a freshman especially, he's a big old boy. So
yeah, his dad's not too small either, but he's bigger than his dad even.
right. Bryce hands it coming this way. That's going to be Colton Chambers. Again, another looks like about 10 yards for Chambers. And they are going to pull the sticks, and so that is another first down. So 10 yards on the first play, 10 yards on the second play. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, that a big. But what I'm seeing here though is that I think it's only one play, one player or two. And that one from Colton Chambers could have been gone. So we'll see if we break a big one here.
So it's Mabane going left. He gets outside. He's got some room. He's inside, about down to the Gerald 30-yard line. We'll see where they mark it, but another first down for the Panthers.
Nice run there.
Wait a minute, though. We've got a hold. I didn't see a flag, but I do see him calling a hold on the Panthers.
Oh, yep.
And I don't know if that was out on the edge there or.
Yeah, it would be hard to tell on that one because
we don't get a number.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, yeah, so we can't get a number from up here. If we'd have if we had a mic on the official. But the Panthers, though, this is talking about overcoming adversity. Play action is going to be one of the big things here, too, that you might want to see.
So that's going to bring up 1st and 20. The Panthers are backed up. Looks like Gerald jumps off sides. We do hand it to Colton Chambers, and he's going to pick up a few.
Yeah, and that's going to be one of those that I think the Panthers should take and get the 5 yards and
make it 1st and 15, should.
And we saw that a lot with Lago Vista last week, too, that teams that aren't used to playing slot T teams and you see that motion, and they're not used to seeing that type of motion, and they jump. But
so that is the call. It is offsides on Gerald, and they do bump it out to the 45-yard line of the Panthers. It's going to bring up 1st and 15. with 10:56 in the clock running here in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Bryce hands it to Mabane. He cuts back. He gets a couple yards, but then he runs into a wall there. Number 42, Matthew Kraft, senior, with the tackle for the Gerald Cougars.
Yeah, Owen Gonzalez a little slow getting up there. So we've got a 2nd down and 11 coming up, as there is a injury timeout right now.
So
Number 54, Owen Gonzalez.
So while they get Owen off the field there, let's talk a little bit about sub-varsity football. Last night, 7th grade got a win against Gerald, 44-0. In
Wow.
8th grade here at home, both of these games are here at home. 8th grade beat Gerald 46-0.
Oh my goodness!
So a couple of big wins for the youngsters there. It's going to bring up 2nd and 11. Bryce is going to throw it. He's got a receiver. Looks like Landry Blackburn,
there he
and
goes.
it's a big play, and he's got it. He's stretched out. I don't see any flags, but that's a Panther touchdown.
Wow, wide open, Landry Blackburn.
Man.
Congratulations, Dad. You just got to see your son run in a nice long pass for a touchdown. So beautiful.
Yeah, he was he was wide open, and you know, on one of those plays, you just hope that he doesn't overthrow or he doesn't throw it short. And
Yeah, and I like what Null did. He threw it at him.
so the kick is up, and it is good, and so that's going to put the Panthers up 7-0.
Wow. Yeah, we had our mics even crackling on that one. We were pretty excited, as you know, and that's set up by the run, and then all of a sudden one pass. You like to see that play action. So with 10-10 here in the first quarter of play, the Panthers lead 7-0 over Gerald on their first possession, and that started on their own 30, but had to overcome that huge
Holding penalty, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that was when
Mabane
Mabane
was-
had 14 yards on that run before that, and then
Yes.
it was called, and I thought, wow, the Panthers looked like they were slow to get back to where they needed to be. They had an offsides that went in their favor from the defense of Gerald, and then boom, after that, I think Panthers went, it was all the way Panthers.
Well, it was. You're right, Hank, because we had the ball down at the Cougar 30-yard line, and then the penalty backed us up to our own 40. So that was a good 30-yard difference. So we overcame that. So very nice, big play for the Panthers, and we're going to kick it off with our trio of kickers. That is Landry Blackburn. He does kick it out to number 35. He catches it about the 29-yard line, returns it up the middle. He's got some room. Oh, and Nick Swartzlosey makes an ankle-grabbing tackle there.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, if he doesn't make that tackle, Nick, man.
Yeah, Nick Swartzlosey saved the day. Nico Rodriguez, the sophomore, did a really good job of just saying, hey, I'm going to catch it and I'm going to go. And it was return right all the way. All the blockers, everybody went to the right. So it was a coordinated effort by the Cougars to get off to the right side and get that return. So they've got great field position to start off.
They're at their own 42-yard line is where they'll set up shop. They got 3 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side in motion. He's back. He does throw it. Oh, it's intercepted. Intercepted by Rangel. He cuts under basically a skinny post and makes a heck of a play. And there's
there it is.
There's your guy. Man, he's been playing well.
Yeah, Gabriel Rangel just takes and reads the quarterback's eyes on that one, because the receiver did get behind, the defense a little bit. He had about 2 or 3 steps behind, but it was one of those that it was a line drive pass, and Gabriel Rangel read the play and cut underneath to where he broke on the ball perfectly.
So the Panthers are going to have the ball at their own 44. They run the ball, it looks like Chapa up the middle, and he's tripped up for a very short gain.
That's still going forward. Sorry.
No, it's going to bring up a 2nd and 8 for the Panthers.
So we'll see if we can get them going here.
Now Bryce is going to hand it off.
Oh,
Flag, and Mabane's
he's
out.
gone.
And I tell you what, he could go all the way for a Panther touchdown. And there is a flag down, but I think that's going to be an offsides, yes. So that'll be declined.
Yep.
So, man, Mabane with a 44-yard run,
Yep.
right?
That was 44-yard run by Mabane, and as soon as we saw him have the ball, I was like, there's nobody else.
There was nobody
out there. So, I mean, wow, Panthers really have jumped out on Gerald early tonight, and this is what it sounded like when he took off right there.
Well, Mabane showing his speed again. Snaps down, kick is up.
Yeah,
And the kick is good.
even against a southwest wind or southeast wind, because the wind is, well, you can hear it in our crowd mic. And, yeah, we've got 9:19 remaining here in the first quarter of play. And it's 14-0 Panthers leading the Jarrell Cougars. So, and you had some other scores to go over.
So, yeah, the freshmen played last night as well. And, I mean, they went to Gerald, and Gerald beat Gerald up 44-14. So the freshman team, good job by them. And then after them, the JV played, and the JV was at Gerald as well, and they won 46-28. So, man, a quadruple victory last night for 7th, 8th, 9th grade freshmen and the JV team.
Wow.
And we are out to a 14-0 lead here early. So, man, I tell you what, things are looking pretty good right now for the Panthers.
Right. So, yeah, it looks good, but you got to continue to play. You can't just, as we say, you got to fight complacency. You cannot be complacent. There's an onside, and it did go the 10 yards.
And the Panthers get it again.
And I think that's Arias, is it, that came up with it. So, wow, the Panthers again have a big play.
What a replay on that. That was.
Yeah.
I think they caught the Cougars off guard there. I don't think the Cougars were thinking about an onside kick at all.
Yeah, well, Jacob Arias just was able.
An illegal touching
No.
against the Panthers.
I beg to differ on that one. That's one of those to where I thought the line to gain, the ball had already crossed that or touched one of the Gerald players. So I'm looking at it like that's one of those that we can, that you can look at again and say, yeah, I don't think it was a legal touch. But you know what? It's worth the risk. I think the defense is playing well enough to, from last game down, get the first play was an interception. Let's see what they can do.
So they've got 2 receivers to the far side, 2 to the near side. Knable rolls. He rolls right. He's got some pressure. Matthew Richardson's chasing him, and he just runs out of bounds. So, a lot of times people will call this the coverage sack, and I don't know if it was a coverage sack or he just decided he didn't want to throw it. But he does pick up a sizable gain, about 5 yards there. No, I'm sorry. It's about 3 yards.
Yeah, I thought he gained a lot more from this angle. It looked like he but I'll take it where it's at. But we got to contain him, though. That is an issue. You can't let him get to the outside. You have to contain.
So they do throw a screen out here to Spradley. Spradley's out there. He shakes and bakes, and the Panthers do knock him out of bounds. But I tell you what, that shows you the speed and the quickness of Jacques Spradley.
And Spradley is, like I said earlier, they're listing him as 6'1", and he is 190 pounds, so he's not just your typical little receiver out there. He's a big boy, and he likes to play in that slot.
And that was just a simple screen where he ran a little bubble screen and let the yak or the run after the catch, do the work for him. So they hand off straight up the middle. And I tell you what, Matthew Richardson grabs him, and who comes in there to clean it up? I think that was Hayden Tolliver.
Hey, Tolliver, yeah, Richardson, good right up the gut. And here's where I believe that the Panthers, again, have to do what they did last week in good gap control and containment.
Right.
I saw that on several plays by the Commanders last night in the NFL where their 4 guys stayed in their lanes and was able to collapse around Justin Fields. Let's see if they can do that here tonight.
So it's 2nd and 8. They run a slant, and the Panther defender Nick Schwartzlow, he falls down, and I tell you what, you can't fall down against these receivers. So and he takes it in for an easy Cougar score.
Yeah, I believe that was either a 36 or 37-yard touchdown pass by, Knebel, and the receiver was Beltran, Christian Beltran, from what I have here.
I think it was Dakari Barnes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was number 3, I think.
Oh, number 3.
Dakari Barnes. The kick is up, and it looks like it is good. So that'll get the Jarrell Cougars on the board, and like I mentioned to you, Kank, they can score quick.
Yeah, and that's the thing that the Panthers have to do a little better job of is, in that realm of passing, we cannot let the quarterback sit back there and take the time to either that was a nice quick slant type of play, and it's a boom boom play, and so I think Schwartzlow was trying to take that risk and trying to come around in the front and break on the ball. And try to get the interception, but that sometimes backfires if you don't make that break early enough. We saw what happened.
Yeah, and we mentioned it in the pregame. They've got some receivers, and so if you slip down or fall down, and no fault there maybe to Schwartzlow, but they're going to make you pay because they're fast and they're quick, and they've got a quarterback, like I said earlier, this is probably the best quarterback that the Panthers will see all year as far as an accuracy.
Right, accuracy and his ability to see the field. I mean, and read the defense.
Right, and he's got an arm too. He can make every throw in the playbook. So,
right.
So Gerald's going to kick off from their own 40, and who knows? Maybe they're going to onside on us.
Yeah, you've got to be ready for anything.
So it's 14-7, 8:23 left here in the first quarter. They do kick it deep, and he's got quite a leg. Walker Deach just lets it roll into the end zone, which is a smart move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let that ball go in, take it at the 25, and the Panthers can go in and just kind of drive it down the field, go in with their offense, and just drive it down the field with good ball control, stay away from the mistakes, the fumbles, and the penalties, and I don't see any reason why this football team couldn't drive it down the field and score in their third possession.
Well, and that's the other thing. We'll talk about this more in the second half, but, if we keep running the ball like we do, we'll hopefully wear this team down a little bit. So they do hand it off to the right side. That's Colton Chambers, and he's got open green grass. He's going to be run down by number 1, it looks like, and he is pulled down inside the 35-yard line of the Jarrell Cougars. So
yeah, he breaks the tackle late too, and almost gets away. And man, nice
40
run.
Looked like about a 41-yard run. And yeah, he had some open field, and I tell you what.
Yeah, he had nothing but green turf in front of him.
Nice speed. They handed up straight up the middle. That's Mabane. The whistles are blowing, and it looked like he was taking off for the end zone.
Are they going to call a false start?
False start on the Panthers. Wow.
Yeah, Mabane would have been really close to getting down the field and scoring on that one too. So,
he has got some quick feet, I tell you. He stutter steps a little bit in the backfield, but once he makes his decision, man, he is just out of there.
His acceleration, is what you're looking at, his ability to accelerate on a dime. I mean, he takes a jab step one way or a jump cut another way, and then as soon as his feet are on the ground, he's gone.
So that's going to bring up a 1st and 15 from the Jarrell Cougar 39-yard line. It's a very similar play, but this time Mabane keeps it up the middle and keeps it in between the tackles.
Right.
It doesn't bounce outside.
Yeah, he gets about 4 yards on the play because that whole line fired out, and they just went after, Jarrell Cougars' defensive line. And, I have to say, though, good job by the Jarrell Cougars not to allow him to get any kind of seams on that play as their linebackers were able to collapse. But, I mean, you're looking here. You got 9 guys basically maybe you got about 9 guys close to being in the box or within 10 yards of the you got all 11 within 10 yards.
So it's 2nd and 11. We do hand it off a dive play up the middle. A flag does come in late.
Yeah.
The ball's down to about the 30-yard line of the Cougars.
So sometimes you can see it as a chop block, or it could be a face mask. So,
and that came from almost the back judge.
Yeah.
I mean, way back in the secondary.
Usually you see that come from the umpire, but dead ball foul, personal foul that goes against the Panthers. So they're going to, since it's a dead ball, the down, I believe, already counts, and that's 15 yards. So that's one we don't see. We don't know exactly what happened from up here.
Yeah, and it's tough because we don't have numbers, and
Right.
they don't. Sometimes they give us a number, sometimes they don't. And
Yeah. The coaches could hear him because we saw the head official go over to Coach Blunt and explain to him what happened. And so
it is going to bring up it looks like about 3rd and 20, maybe 21.
15-yard mark off, 3rd down and 21.
So we do split a receiver out to the far side, and it looks like the Panthers are going to call a timeout.
Yeah.
So that's their first time out of the half. They'll have 2 remaining, but Hank, what do you draw up in the Panther playbook for 3rd and 20? Do you show Wimberly one of your secret pass plays, or?
I mean, well, they're not too secret, but I would say one of your play action pass plays can usually work. We saw it already, but this is a 3rd and long situation, so yeah, more than likely they're going to see it. I would tell you, I would run the same play they ran to Mabane, going to the outside on that left side, the way we saw it earlier. I would run the same exact play there.
Okay.
Get Mabane out to the outside, or even Colton Chambers, on that one play coming back this side. I would just stick to the script because I would bet the Panthers being on Gerald's side of the field, this is probably with 3rd down, they're probably going to look at trying to at least get a little more than half and then go for it on 4th down.
That's what I was going to say. If you can get 10 yards here, and then you probably go for it on 4th down.
Right.
And or we could see, we saw it a lot earlier in the year, a run pass option there for Bryce Nall, where he rolls out to one side, and that's exactly what we see. And he throws it. He throws a little bit short though, and the ball is intercepted.
Well,
He was trying to hit Bo Brumley, I think, over here.
And it looked like the wind knocked that one down. The wind the way the wind is gusting, it just looked like it knocked it down. But I'm going to have to kind of get after Scott Kibbe on that one because he had wrote in his article this last Wednesday, says that Bryce Nall has not thrown an interception or taken a sack this year. And there was his first interception of the year, Bryce Nall. So now Gerald's making a game of it right now, though, with 6 minutes and 28 seconds left in the first quarter, 14-7.
So they're
Panthers lead. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. They're gonna take over at their own 29-yard line. Trips to the far side, one receiver to the near side, shotgun, and it looks like they're gonna have a false start. So that'll back them up 5. They'll have a 1st and 15. But you're right. Gerald is, making a ball game of this. But the other thing is I feel like the wind's really picked up here.
Yeah, and they got the wind to their backs. So you got to remember, Gerald's got the wind to their backs, and this may change completely once we turn this thing around in the second quarter.
So it looks like same formation. He throws it quick out and over the head of number 7. That's Christian Beltran. And he just, you saw the arm strength of Knebel there, man. He whipped that ball And it was straight over the head of number 7 there, Beltran.
Yeah, I mean, and Beltran should have been ready for it, but wasn't, because that was a perfectly thrown bullet right to him. Just went right through his hands.
Right through his hands. So again, trips to the far side. There is motion. He flips it outside, and the Panthers read that perfectly. And I think that was Jacob Arias or Tolliver.
Yep.
Hayden Tolliver read that, and I mean that's just great linebacking play there. Just caught him in the backfield. That's gonna pulled him down for a loss. It's gonna be about 3rd and 20.
Yeah, and now the Panthers, the Panthers are going to have to, watch it. Don't let anybody behind them, but they need to get pressure on the quarterback.
So he's looking right. He throws it, and it's out of bounds. And, that may have been a little bit where, and we talked about the wind. Maybe the wind is he's sailing a couple balls on it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he overthrew that out of bounds, and it wasn't close, right?
Right, and you would expect that he was just going to let it fly. Not sure the field gets condensed when the quarterback's running to their right. The field gets a lot smaller, and your lanes get a lot smaller. So, it's a combination of either he was going to throw it away, or he was trying to get it to receiver right at the sideline. And either way, the wind's going to have an effect as it's picking up more and more.
So it was a high snap, but a low kick. It's going to bounce. And Rangel's going to let it go. And, that is a heck of a punt. It rolls all the way inside the Panther 5-yard line. And I'd like to know, let's see, that's going to be I don't know exactly where they were. But I tell you what, that was a heck of a punt, and the wind really sure aided that. So.
It was close to being 80 yards, like 78 yards or so on that punt. But the Panthers, though, if you look at it this way, the bonus to that is the Panthers just get to take more time off the clock as they drive it down the field. But the mistakes now has put the Panthers behind the chains several times, so they've got to prevent that from happening.
So it looks like the Panthers are going to set up shop their own 4-yard line. He hands it up straight up the middle.
Oh, wow.
And the freshman, Cohen Blunt, just runs over a couple of guys.
Yeah, almost gets the 10 yards needed, but 2 yards shy or so from getting that. And
I tell you what, after the play, the umpire went up and had a little chat with Ian Palmer. And I don't know if he said knock it off, but there was a little pushing after the play there. It was.
Yeah, and we saw that last week quite a bit with Lago Vista. They weren't used to being pushed around, and the Panthers sure did that last week, frustrated.
So we handed off coming back to the right side. He flung and swung around. I think that's Colton Chambers. He did swing him in the right direction, though.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's going to pick up the first down.
He's just short.
Maybe not. My bad.
Yeah.
Not so fast.
Yeah, right. Oh, man. 3rd and 1 coming up here for the Panthers. But, this is one of those I just don't think you mess around. You just go right at them.
3rd and 1.
He does go right at him with Cohen Blunt. And Cohen looks like he should have the first down. And I tell you what, some of our and it's getting a little chippy there. Bo Brumley gets into it a little bit with number 48.
Got to keep a cool head, though. You can't let it get out of control.
But the Panthers are imposing their physicality and their will on them a little bit, and I don't think Jarrell Cougars like it. So.
All right, well, I got some quick scores. Buda Hayes Hawks are up on Seguin 20-14.
But Bain to the left side, he's going to pick up looks like about 4 or 5 yards.
Yeah, and he just couldn't quite get that corner. Good job by Gerald. I believe that was actually came all the way from the other side for Gerald was number 8, Braden Ballyard.
So that's going to bring up about 2nd and 6. There's 3:36 left here in the first quarter with the clock moving. We do hand it. Looks like straight up the middle. And Again, looks like Cohen Blunt ran over one man and just kept his feet churning, and that's exactly right. He's like a freight train. Man, I tell you, he's a big boy, and he's tough to tackle. And I'd like to see him in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and
running.
Exactly. But I was looking at him. I was like, look up a little bit, because he had his head down. And I think if he looks up, he makes a break here and there, and he could get another 10 yards out of that.
Right, he was on the third level, right? The secondary was making the tackle there, so.
Yeah, he's looking for contact. You're like, no. Sometimes it's okay to avoid contact.
It may be in his DNA.
Yeah, I know.
So he handed off. Colton Chambers coming here to the near side, and looks like he's going to pick up about 4 yards. So the Panthers are just slowly churning the clock and picking up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yards a carry.
Yeah,
and
as long as you get that 3.5, so we don't have to go to that fourth down, I'm okay. So 3.5 yards a carry will be perfect. But that offensive line, though, I think is firing out. We see them firing out. They're just not. It seems like they're just not able to stay on the block just a second longer or half second longer. If they can, we'll see a couple of big plays coming up here.
So it looks like Gerald might have jumped off sides. We handed up the middle, and he's going to be out across the 40-yard line, around to about the 42, 43 is Diego Chapa.
Wow, you see the strength of Chapa's legs as he keeps him chopping. And I'm telling you, he's going down the field, and he's taking 3 or 4 Jarrell Cougars with him.
And one thing I have noticed, Hank, is we've got a couple of offensive linemen, starters that are on the sideline right now. So he hands it off up the middle, and again, that was 1st and 10, and that was Chapa, and man, he hits the hole fast.
Oh, doesn't he?
So it's almost like thunder and lightning there. You got Cohen Blunt being the thunder, and Chapa with the lightning, and he hits the hole quick.
Yeah, I like the way Chapa hit the hole. I couldn't tell you at that one moment in time whether that was Mabane or Chapa, because Chapa hit that hole so fast and hard.
So the Panthers have it down to the 47-yard line, and again, it looks like Gerald jumps off sides, but not before another good sizable gain for the Panthers off the basically a right dive play.
Yeah, Xavier Cropper, who filled in for Colton Chambers when Colton Chambers was out injured this year, and picked up good yardage. So we'll see if it was good enough to say no. Do we want the result of the play, or do we want it to be 1st and 5? I think they'll take 1st and 5, even if it's even if it's 2nd and 6. I mean 2nd and 4, you'd still want the 1st and 5.
And we'll take 1st and 5.
Hell yeah. And the other score I was going to bring up is the Atlanta Yellow Jackets over Marion right now in the second quarter, 28-7.
Bryce under center.
Oh,
looks like we might have jumped that time.
Yep, and that's the play I was looking for.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. We're a little quick on that side.
Yeah, a little quick on the far side. Looks like our swing man jumped a little bit early.
Yeah, I won't call him out. I think I know who it was.
I think I know who it was, too, but I'm not going to say anything. But, again, that should bring up, well, that's going to be back where we started. So 1st and 10 from about the 47-yard line of the Cougars.
All right, can we have that 2nd down and 4 back?
Right.
But here now is where you'd like to see, the Panthers go ahead and kind of take control of the game. And like you said earlier, alluded to, is wear them down.
Gerald jumps a little bit again. I don't see a flag, but Cohen Blunt fights his way up for about 5 yards.
Yeah.
Man, it was close. It looked like, I don't know if Bryce Null's got his cadence working tonight, or if Gerald's just trying to jump in the gaps early just to kind of clog them.
And I was trying to watch Bryce Null real close on that one, and what it looked like with that big, the helmet's moving as he has that real hard count with the helmet moving and the way he has, you can tell he's trying to draw him off on that, and see his helmet moves at the same time.
So he hands it up the middle, Mabane, and he's going to, he is still fighting.
Wow.
I tell you what, he almost popped out of there, but he is pulled down. And that is going to bring up the end of the first quarter with the Panthers up 14-7 over the Gerald Cougars.
That's the end of the first quarter.
So I'll tell you what, let's bring up our QR code, and if we can, and for the first time tonight. But folks, so you're listening and watching the Navarro Panther Network, and we're going to bring up the QR code. There it is. So this is the QR code to donate. So we are accepting donations here for the Audiovisual Club that we started here just a couple months ago, and it's run by the students. The students are on the laptop next to me running the software, and they are out on the 2 cameras as me and Hank do the broadcast. But man, I tell you what, if you've got it, it's homecoming, so I know that if you didn't spend too much on the mums this week, if you want to donate
right.
$5, $10, whatever you can, we just be really much appreciated, and we're really grateful to be able to do this. And
right.
it's because of y'all.
Yeah, and if you give $5, $10, it's really just the cost of admission of one person.
Right.
You know,
to the ticket to the game.
To the game. So if you brought a whole family, you're going to pay a lot more than that, and you can sit at home now and watch the Panthers.
Right. So there it is.
We'd rather have you here, though.
We would. We'd rather have you here. It's very entertaining here tonight. So Panthers take it, and they hand it off straight up the middle. That's Colton Chambers. He looks like he might have bobbled the ball. They were trying to strip it out, but Colton does a good job of holding on, and there's a flag there at the end, and Chambers is down.
Yeah, he took a pretty hard shot there, but he's getting up on his own accord. That's a good sign that he's up and about.
But anyways, let's talk a little bit about while we've got an injury timeout here. I've got some announcements, Hank. If you don't mind, yesterday, cross country had their district meet at Fredericksburg, and I tell you, the varsity girls team placed second, which is excellent. So
awesome.
they will advance onto the regionals in Corpus Christi here in a couple weeks.
Awesome.
Ethan Liu finished second, and Zoe Carter finished fourth. So that was a great job by Coach Magin and then the cross country team. And tennis had played in the playoffs against Fredericksburg in Wimberley, and they ended up losing the match to Fredericksburg over in Wimberley. So their season is over, but I tell you what, they had a wonderful season. Man, there was many times I got on this broadcast over the last 7 weeks, and told you how great the tennis team was doing. So anyways.
And there's still another tennis season that will be coming up in the spring as well.
That's right. So the Panthers do get a penalty. Looks like that was
personal foul.
Personal foul. I don't know if that was a targeting or something,
something
on Chambers. But Bryce Nall hands it off. That's Cohen Blunt straight up the middle.
Wow.
And, man, he is inside the Gerald 5-yard line. And, again, this is a drive, Hank, that started at the Panther 4-yard line. So if we can finish this, that would be our longest drive of the year by far.
Oh, yeah.
So they mark him at the 5-yard line. There's 11:15 here in the second quarter. The Panthers lead 14-7, and they're knocking at the door here.
And they're just chewing up time as they go.
Handed again, Cohen Blunt straight up the middle.
Is he in?
And looks like just short. They're going to mark him down about the 1-yard line.
There was bodies everywhere. It was hard to tell who was in.
I tell you what, and this is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Panthers, right? I mean, this is classic slot T football right here.
Yep. This is what you want to see by a Panther football team coming in and playing the slot T the way they do. It's just grind it out and take it to your opponent, and it's demoralizing because you can't stop them.
It is. So Nall under the center. He hands it to Cropper. Cropper's going to walk in.
Yeah.
For the most part. He does stretch it over the line, but that's going to be a touchdown for the Panthers and put them up 20-7 pending the extra point.
Wow, Cropper just, takes it on that inside trap handoff. Nice job by the offensive line just to move people and allow him just to walk in essentially with 10:19 remaining here in the first half of play.
So the kick is up, and it is good, and that's going to bring the score to Panthers 21 and the Jarrell Cougars 7 with 10:19 left here in the second quarter. So I tell you, that ended up being a 96-yard drive, Hank.
Yeah, 96-yard drive.
And I don't think we didn't throw the ball on that, so that was all on the ground.
Yeah, and that's like you said earlier too. You said it. That's just what the doctor ordered. The Panthers were looking for a long drive, and if you remember, I always say it. The farther back it is, that wasn't a bad deal by letting the ball bounce back. I think it was Rangel that was back on that punt return as the returner and lets it go. And it gets all the way down to the 4. I'm like, hey, that's a good deal for us because now we get to drive the whole length of the field essentially.
Right. That was an impressive drive.
Yeah.
I tell you.
And very few mistakes. I think we had just a false start on that drive that took away an offsides already against Gerald, and then it came back and it was just like starting over. But I do have a quick score on Wimberley. Wimberley's beating Maynard New Tech 35-0 just beginning the second quarter on that one.
Oh.
And Lago Vista 35-0 in the second quarter over Austin Achieve.
Right. Yeah. Not anything that we didn't expect. Right?
That's correct.
So the Panthers will kick off. That's Landon Taylor. He kicks it. It's caught about the 15-yard line, and he's coming straight up the middle, folks. And uh-oh. I tell you what. Oh, I tell you, with a kicker.
Oh, my goodness.
Man, that was a heck of a Sneed with the tackle. And I tell you what, that was Gianni Prince, number 1 for them. And, man, he's probably their fastest guy on their team outside of maybe number 5. I'd like to see those two race, by the way. But,
right.
But man, Sneed, heck of a play, saves a touchdown, and they are going to set up shop at the Panther 41-yard line, though.
Yeah, and I had just talked to Coach Blunt on the interview about how well the coverage had been, but that one kind of hurt the Panthers.
So, the ball's out. They run it right up the middle, and Gabriel Rangel jumps on it. And, I tell you, that was great. And but I will say, in the scouting report, looking at it, that I saw,
he
nibble it. He puts the ball on the ground a few times. So
yeah, he has fumbled throughout the year from what I've seen, and it's a lot of times not getting the ball fully secured by the time he gets the handoff. And if you hit him early enough and he hasn't quite secured it, we saw it there. He got hit as soon as he got the ball and started to take that step. That's when we saw the ball come out. So that didn't hurt the Panthers as much as we thought it did.
So the Panthers will have the ball starting at their own 34. Mabane's here to the left side. If he can get the corner, and that almost looked like a horse collar there, but there is not a flag. I'm not sure if the ref had a really good angle on that.
And what you'd call it the nameplate, because it doesn't necessarily, my understanding, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, that even if you don't get your hand inside the collar or inside the shoulder pad, if you're on what they call the nameplate, and pull back on it, you still could be called for hostile, especially if you pull them all the way down to the ground. If you initially grab it, let go, and wrap up, it might be a little different story.
So the Panthers hand it straight up the middle. That's Chapa. He's going to get it down to about the 40-yard line of the Cougars. He's going to pick up about 3, maybe 4 yards. But I tell you what, Mabane with the speed around the corner again.
Yeah.
And, man,
yeah, you're looking right now, the Panthers aren't looking to be in a hurry. 21-7 with 9.5 minutes remaining here in the first half of play against Gerald. I think you're just, you're going to take your time and just go right at them.
And that's Mabane to the left side. They seal the edge, and he is off.
There goes
for another Panther touchdown. So that was about a 40-yard touchdown run there for Antoine Mabane.
Yeah, I mean, Antoine Mabane just, and I just said, they're content and just kind of running it out, slowly. And that's why I yelled out, "There goes that theory."
I tell you what, you look up and he's just if he gets the edge, it's night.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, and one of their fastest players even has trouble getting him, as that extra point is good.
And hey, they've got some kids in the secondary that can run, so that's
right.
Mabane says, "Hey, I can run too."
Right. So we'll give that a big hallelujah as the Panthers are able to take that turnover and just turn it into pay dirt. And so it paid off for the Panthers. Now, that's scary because, when you let a returner get that far down the field and you don't have that good of a coverage, it concerns you with teams that you'll play in the future. Like Wimberley has a lot of speed. And so I would expect, Coach Blunt not to take and kick it deep down in the middle to their best return men. I would expect you to place it a little bit better, hit it on the numbers, right inside the numbers in the corners,
right.
Those sorts of things, or squig kick it. Just do not make it an easy, catch for the return man because, we see the speed. Their fastest guy back there that I would think is Jakari Price.
So it is an onside, and number 7.
Oh, yeah. Beltran.
Beltran jumps on it. That was Landon Taylor with an onside, but it didn't have that traditional hop to it. It just kind of was flat.
Right.
It was almost like a shortstop.
Didn't quite get the bounce that you want.
That's right. It didn't bounce up. Yeah.
Well, it keeps a return though. I know that it gives them good field position, but it net wise, there's no return. You like to get those onside, but.
So they will start at their own 44-yard line. 2 receivers to the near side, 2 to the far side. Shotgun formation. He lines up, he throws it. It's complete. Across to number 3, Dakari Barnes.
And I'd give that up any day of the week and
right.
twice on Sunday because the Panthers had that covered so well from going deep. Comeback routes or button hooks, those sorts of things are really hard to defend, but you still don't let them behind you. And
right.
as you'd said that in weeks ago in several different games, let's hope the Panthers can keep that up.
So it is about a 4-yard gain. Bring up 2nd and 6 from their own 48-yard line. Oh, he throws it out. It's a bubble screen, and number 5, Jacob, catches that. That's Jaquez Spradley again.
Yeah,
and Jacob Arias makes a heck of a tackle there.
Yeah, Arias comes all the way from that linebacker position, and he's on his horse, that's for sure. He unhitched the trailer and got there pretty quick.
And there was a host of Panthers there with him.
Yes.
Arias was just there first
right.
and slowed him down, but he did a great job because he turned him back to the inside, and then the Panthers
you always
cleaned up.
Yes, you always want to get it back to the meat of the defense, and that's exactly what Arias did.
So 3rd down and about 4 or 5 from the 50, a dart. Man, I tell you, that was a good throw.
Yeah.
Back out to number 4. That's
And
Mason Dotson.
Yeah, Mason Dotson, again, that's another one of those that you could say, was more like a slant coming across, but it was on a rope. My goodness.
That was
yeah, some mustard on that one, right?
I tell you what, yeah. that was a big time throw there.
Yeah, that might have been even, considered like, some spicy mustard on that one.
So that's going to bring him inside the 40-yard line, about the 38-yard line of the Panthers. 1st and 10 for Gerald. He rolls to his left. Oh, he's got some pressure. He throws it. Oh, and it's been intercepted by the Panthers. I think that's Hayden Tolliver, but let me check. And it was almost like he felt the pressure and he panicked a little bit. And what did I say before the broadcast? That is Hayden Tolliver. He turns into a different quarterback when he gets pressure.
Yeah, and that was one, and I kind of went, because it was like, I did not expect him to throw it. There was 3 Panthers in the vicinity.
That's correct. There was.
And, Tolliver being the one that says just thank you for the Christmas present early. But that is one of those where, like you said, you're wondering why did he even attempt to throw it. That one should have been just thrown off to the sideline, out of bounds, past the line of scrimmage. He's already rolled out past the tackle box, so that one is kind of questionable for
So
Knievel.
Panthers take over up 28-7 with about 7 minutes left. There is a pass. It's tipped and it's caught, and he's going to score. That's Jacob Garcia on a wheel route. And I'm going to have to see the replay on this one, but man, that was a beautiful, beautiful catch there by Garcia.
Yeah, I mean, the concentration, because the simple fact that Garcia had to go off of the tip, slow down, and reach backwards. As you would see, he's reaching back to get the ball, and good job by Garcia to follow the ball all the way in. And
that was, that was 54 yards.
Man.
The hold is down, the kick is up, and it is good. That's going to bring the score. The Panthers 35 and the Jarrell Cougars 7 with 6:56 here left in the second quarter. And wow, that's several big pass plays from the Panthers here in the first half.
Yeah, and big run plays. Now,
man,
this is where the Gerald Cougars, they look good in spurts. That like we said earlier, it's either Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde, and we've already seen it within the game, where that the time that it was 14-7, and it looked like Gerald had already, they made the big pass play, and you thought, wow, we got to watch them. They're coming back, and when they got the ball, they were, they had the opportunities, and they just hadn't taken advantage of it early. So we'll see how. Now the Panthers, I always say this. I've said it over and over again. You cannot be complacent. You have to play. Full throttle right here.
Absolutely.
You don't let up, because they're a passing team.
So the Panthers do kick it off deep. He fields it at about the 17-yard line. He is brought down and returning out past the 30, and it looks like Guerra, Galini, and one more Panther. It looks like
and that was the return.
No, I'm sorry. Arias, sorry.
Arias. But Alec Castro, he was pretty much going north to south, and man, he got his legs taken out from under him, and good job by gang tackling by the Panthers there, of all the names that you mentioned. And let's see, now it looks like Panthers are keeping their starting D out there.
So they've got the ball at their own 32-yard line. They hand it off, going to the left side, but he's met by Nick Swartzlosey and a host of Panthers.
Good job by Nick Swartzlosey. The one thing I liked about what he did there is he wrapped up. A lot of times you see in the NFL or college, defensive backs trying to take the legs out, and they don't necessarily wrap up. They're just trying to take and use their shoulders. Good job by Nick Swartzlosey in wrapping up the running back.
So he rolls to his right side. He's got a receiver, and he drops the pass. It was a little bit short. He almost one-hops it in there. The intended receiver there was Dakari Barnes, number 3.
Yeah, Dakari Barnes went down for it. It was a little low given that, but it was still a catchable ball, and that's kind of the some of the issues that Gerald's had is some of their receivers have not been able to catch the balls that Knievel has thrown.
So there's 6:10 left here in the second quarter. Panthers up 35-7. It looks like we're going to have a timeout here for Gerald. That's their first timeout. They'll have 2 left. And let's talk a little bit about volleyball.
There you go.
Volleyball here at the high school. Last week, our Lady Panther volleyball team played Fredericksburg here at home. They ended up losing that match, and it brought their district record down to 5-3 and to overall record of 15-19. And then this week, man, they played a tough little Davenport team here at Davenport. They lost that as well, and I tell you, Davenport's number 1 in the district in volleyball, and I don't think they have a girl over 5'10".
Wow!
But they've got some hustlers and some hitters, obviously. So that set us back to 5-4 in the district in 15-20 overall, and we're playing here tonight against Bandera. So we're back to action here. Gerald's got the ball, trips to the near side. He's looking down the straight middle of the field, and it is complete. And that is number 4. I'm sorry, that's number 7, Christian Beltran. But it's a short gain, and that was 3rd down. That'll bring up 4th and 10 for the Cougars.
I thought we were going to see another. I thought we were going to see another interception because again, pressure on Knevel was coming by the Panthers, and I wanted to say this time it was by one of the linebackers. It may have been Arias or Tolliver, but good job either way up front by the Panthers defense.
So that will force a punt. It is Knevel punting. He's a pretty good punter. He gets a nice punt off. Chapa lets it roll. It's going to roll out about the 33-yard line of the Panthers.
Yeah, and with 5 minutes and 20 seconds remaining here in the first half, the Panthers lead it, as you see, 35-7. I believe both teams have 2 timeouts each, and if I'm the Panthers, I'm okay with giving it to the fullback and let them grind it out a couple of plays here, and then just take that clock down and score right towards the end of the first half. But hey, you take the score whenever it comes to you too. So
there you go. So the Panthers have it at their own 33, 1st and 10. And I agree with you, Hank. I think it's time to. Oh, he throws it. It's a screen pass out to Blackburn, and it hits him right in the hands, and he drops it.
Well, at least he's got a touchdown under his belt on a nice.
Yeah, you got to catch
reception.
those though.
Yeah.
As a former receiver, you don't like to drop those. So
No, you don't. And I will say this though, when you're looking at a ball coming right at you with the, depending on how the lights are hitting it, those aren't as easy coming from the side. Now, if you're down the field, it's a little different, but.
So that brings up 2nd and 10. We are going to hand it off straight up the middle. There is a flag down in the holding vicinity. Came from the umpire, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be the big one, the 15-yard variety, or a hold. And so it is a personal foul.
Oh, it's a chop
block that goes against the Panthers. Because I saw 2 Panther linemen. It looked like Barry was one of them that was talking to one of the other linemen. Trying to see if that was Ian Palmer. Both of them were talking to each other saying, I was going to get this guy. No, I was going to. It's like, and then when both of them hit him, and if one hits him low and the other hits him high, that's the definition of a chop block.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's going to back up the Panthers about a 1st and 25. They're going to hand it coming this way, but he's bottled up quickly. Looked like Landon Taylor with the hand or the carry.
Yeah, Landon Taylor, it just didn't develop for him, the play altogether. So I don't say it was just necessarily his fault or what have you. It just, that play just didn't develop. Good job. That means good job by the Jarrell Cougars defense of staying at home.
That was. And we are backed up. It's 3rd and.
Oh, is it almost 25?
Yeah, it's 3rd and probably to San Marcos right now, down 123. And he hands it off. That Cropper, but he's got some room. He's got some green grass, and he swung forward. He's going to be a little short out past the 35-yard line, but nice run there by Cropper. Interesting to see what Coach Blunt does here.
Yeah,
He's going to bring up what, Hank?
Yeah,
4th and 7.
4th and 7, and Blunt. I think he. There's no.
He's got the wind to his back.
Yeah.
He might as well.
Yeah, just and hope for a mistake on the side of. You still got 2 timeouts, and if there's a mistake that we've seen before by the Gerald Cougars. Again, these 2 teams haven't played each other since 1987. So
1987. Wow.
We're going way back. On a halftime, we'll try to bring you. We'll bring you some of the. We'll try to bring you all of the homecoming ceremony. So we'll see. We'll see that at halftime. But first, it'll be the halftime show and stats with Scott Kibbe and us, and And we'll go from there.
So let's bring up the QR code and
Yeah.
one more time here before we hit half. And so this is the QR code for the Audiovisual Club here and the Navarro Panther Network. And so you can hold your phone up and scan this and make a donation towards the students and the club, and be much appreciated. They've done a fabulous job, and we're almost going to let them fly on their own.
Yeah, they're going to be flying soon. They'll have to jump out of the nest and see if they can fly, and that'll be soon. But like I said, for less than basically a cost of admission for donations, it would be very helpful.
So Panthers in punt formation. It is Landon Taylor. It is a high snap. It goes way over his head, but he does have time to still kick it. It looks like if he does a little rugby, but he's going to throw it. He does throw it about as far as it. Man, that was a pretty good throw.
Yeah, but you got room. You could have just even if it's a little squigger or squig kick or whatever.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
I thought he had time to do like a rugby style.
Right.
But man, he showed an arm.
Yeah, I was actually very surprised of the distance it went. I know he had the wind a little bit at his back, but my goodness, 40 yards in the air, and the way he threw it with some real height to it as well.
So Gerald will take over at the Panther. Well, it looks like about the 36-yard line.
So 36-yard line. Panthers just have to play, tremendous defense.
Which, we'd like to hold them here before half. So 3:22 here left in the first half. He throws it. He throws it right. It's a slant, and it is caught. Oh, but the ball's out.
And that's
is that a fumble? Oh,
yes.
It is. It is a fumble. I tell you what, I guess he did make a football move and forward, and
he took about 4 or 5 steps on that one, and
we stripped the ball. It looks like Chapa. Everyone's patting Chapa on the head, so I'm assuming that he knocked the ball loose, but that's big.
And we saw the receiver curl up and everything, and as looks like he was protecting the ball as he was turning to go upfield, and boom, then the ball comes out. So I definitely would say that. Go ahead.
Well, the Panthers take over at their own 21, 1st and 10. He hands it up the middle, and it looks like Cohen Blunt is going to bumble and rumble and stumble down almost to the 30.
Another,
carrying players with him.
Well, the crowd's kind of subdued now. I guess it's 35-7. But still, and you don't hear as much coming from the crowd as I thought I would.
Well, maybe at halftime once the homecoming court comes out, maybe they'll get a little bit more fired up. But or unless we, maybe we break off a long run here or something. Huh?
Yeah, I see that happening. I actually do.
So Bryce hands it. It's coming left. That's Landon Taylor. He does have some green grass. He's riding Barry, and he is gone. He's going to take it to the house, folks.
Landon Taylor, all the way. Golly, he goes. Hey,
that was.
That's 71 yards on that one.
And he rode Mac Berry for about 40 of it. And Mac was just leading the charge there. So good job by the Panthers.
Yeah, Mac Berry was running a little faster than Taylor on that one.
Might have to time in the 40 after this. So the kick is up. It is good by Sneed. And that brings the score with 2:21 left here in the first half. It brings the score Panthers 42, the Jarrell Cougars 7.
Yeah, with 2:21 remaining, and as you said, but with 2 minutes remaining, and the Panthers have one timeout remaining. Gerald has 2, but for Gerald to get back in this game, it's going to be pretty difficult for him as long as the Panthers keep playing the way they are. Now, and this is one of the first times I said, well, I feel like a big play's coming, and it actually happened. So,
there you go. Good mojo.
Yeah, with this game tonight, though, I hate to say it and sound bad, but it's been like every 3 or 4 plays we've seen big plays by the Panthers tonight. So, it's not something that wasn't, that's not unexpected.
Right. So Gerald, barring we don't do an onside kick and recover it, Gerald will
I
get
doubt
there
it,
and get
yeah.
the ball for the 8th time here in the first half. So Panthers will kick off. That will be Landon Taylor. And he does kick it straight up to Prince, number 1, and he's dancing around. He goes out across the 35-yard line, and that's a dangerous guy to be kicking it to. I just
Jelani, is that Jelani Price?
That's Jelani. I'm sorry. I want to call him Prince, but it's Price. I
Right.
apologize, but yes, Jelani Price. But man, he's a heck of an athlete.
Oh yeah, I mean, he has that ability to do those jump cuts that we see Mabane doing, and he's very elusive. So, you would expect to see him on offense a little more often as well because of his skills that he shows out there as a return man.
And I did see him running the Wildcat last week against
Oh,
Wimberley.
that's right.
So
That's right.
for a couple of plays,
Yeah,
interesting to see. So, anyways, they're going to start the ball at their own 38. He looks to his right. He's a screen. They're trying to set up a screen straight up the middle, and he's got it complete, and he's running. And it looks like they're going to get a hold out on the edge. It looks like there was a bad hold by Gerald out on the edge. It looked like Landry Blackburn was throwing his hands up in the air. I don't know if he got the call, but
Yeah.
it looks like that's about where the flag was. So
It's a spot foul, and what we mean by spot foul, wherever that penalty occurs, you go 10 yards from that spot, and that's what they'll do. They have it at the 49-yard line.
So that is the call, and they are gonna mark it off against the Cougars. So it's gonna take the ball back to the 41-yard line.
But what I see, Lance, here is, the explosiveness
Right.
of Gerald's players that's the scary thing. You would think they've got talent out there. If they could just kind of hone in on that talent and be consistent, they would be a very good football team offensively.
So it's going to bring up about 1st and 7. He's getting pressure. Bo Brumley, he's rolling. He's just going to throw it away. But Brumley chases him out of the yard, basically.
Yeah, almost to the track,
And their quarterback just decides to throw it over the Panther bench and give a homecoming souvenir to us. So.
Yeah. Well, I tell you right now, at halftime, Seguin and Hayes, they're playing a close game, as Hayes has it right now still at 20-14.
So Gerald will still have the ball at their own 41-yard line. It'll bring up 2nd and 7 with the incomplete pass. So Knebel, he looks to his it's tipped. And it is almost intercepted there by Blackburn. It was tipped up in the air. He tried to grab it, but couldn't quite get there.
It looked like Blackburn and Beltran were both had a shot at catching the ball there.
Yeah, he's kind of twirled around. But so that brings up a 3rd and 7 from the 41-yard line here for Gerald. So Knebel, see what he's doing. We have 1:34 with the clock stopped here remaining in the first half. Panthers up 42-7. In a timeout, Gerald. I was going to say they let that play clock run
way
down, and it looked like there was some confusion there. But
no sense of urgency. And I thought at this point, you get the ball back, and you score here, and you get the ball back after half in the third quarter.
That's right.
I mean, that's 2 quick scores. You cut this game in half.
Yeah, because the Gerald will receive the second half kickoff. So.
Yeah, and some of the other scores I have right now is Wimberley leading Maynard New Tech 49-0 at halftime. And then Laga Vista big over Austin Achieve 42-0 at halftime.
What do we got in that Marion Llano game?
Yeah, that Marion Llano game, when I show it, it's still at halftime.
Okay.
They may be out of halftime. I just hadn't got the updates yet, but it's 28-7 Llano over Marion.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, it looks like Llano's pulling away. Number eight team in 3A Division I. So
they are going to have the ball again at their own 41, 3rd and 7. Snap back. It looks like he wants to. No, he wants to throw it deep. He's got a receiver number 4, and it goes right through his hands.
Yeah. I'll give him the benefit of doubt, say off his fingertips.
Yeah, Mason Dotson had it. It was close.
Yeah.
And I think he was running about as fast as he could. Chapa was chasing him. I don't know if
Yeah.
he would have scored, but it would have been a sizable gain, right?
Right. Again, the scary thing there is
Big.
that the guy behind him, and you just can't let that happen. Because, I mean, if you're preparing for the team you're going to play next week for practically the district championship, that's the Wimberley Texans, they're not going to miss that kind of ball. They'll make it happen, and so you cannot let that that offensive player behind you.
So the Panthers rush. There's a nice kick by Knebel against the wind, high, and that looks like it's Chapa, and he fumbles the ball, and it's picked up, but you can't advance it. It is down, and it looks like around the 22-yard line. So
yeah, they're actually going to say they're going to have. I think they're going to have the ball at the 25. So that's one of those that you kind of say I would have been happy to let the clock run off some more time, let it hit the ground, and go from there. Now, Panthers have to go right back out on defense, and kind of everything we did in that whole other defensive series, now you throw it out the window and start all over again.
So they will have the ball at the 25, and it looks like they just stripped the ball out of the hands of Diego Chapa.
Looks like we got Big Bear Barry in there now at the nose tackle.
He's been playing center all night, I've noticed. So shotgun formation. He's looking left. He does throw it. He's got a receiver on a wheel route, and he
just
catches
walks
it
in
and just easy touchdown. It looks like the corner was fooled. When you run the wheel route, usually the corner lets his guy go, and then he's got to kind of notice the wheel back coming out of the backfield, and I don't think Colton Schulke noticed them. And it was a great throw, though, and a great catch.
And, the safety didn't get over Chapa.
Right.
He
was late.
He was late getting there, and so that window is there a lot of times, especially if you're going to roll that coverage and allow him to go from the corner to a safety, and the safety's got to be able to pick that up as well. So, well, that extra point looked to be good, so it takes it 42-14, and just as we talked about, if Gerald gets the ball they do get the ball in the second half, or unless the Panthers onside, but
right,
they should get the ball in the second half to start the third quarter. They go down, and if they score, you're looking at a 42-21 game, and with a lot of time remaining in the game, if they do it quickly, Panthers got to be careful and not let. And that's what we talked about, not letting a passing team like Gerald get back into the game.
That's right, and because they're dangerous, right? I mean, they've proved here the past 4 or 5 minutes that they can. I mean, the middle screen, even though there was a hold on that play,
right, he
was going to pick up a bunch of yards.
Yeah, I mean,
Jaquez.
Yeah, you see that you see it all the time too. Where a passing team just gets one big break, makes one person move because you're out in space, and they're gone.
So the Panthers will receive. It'll be Gerald kicking off from their own 40. And so, I don't know, they could try the onside.
Yeah, I mean,
let's see
it's
what
not
happens.
going to hurt.
They do pooch kick it.
Fair catch
it. Is fair.
Oh,
no. Landon Taylor catches it.
I mean, I'm just saying, fair catch that one.
He's still driving his feet out past the 50-yard line into Cougar territory.
That was a rugby scrum. Oh, my goodness.
And hey, the Panthers got a shot here. They got a minute left.
Yeah.
And
one timeout.
59
seconds is, like you said, a minute, essentially. So, I mean, however, I'm a big believer, even though I was asking for a fair catch. And, and our front line, I think, has to be aware of that in the future as well for the Panthers, is that when you're on that front line and that pooch kick is up, unless it's a line drive right to you and you can pick and go, otherwise you want to call that fair catch, because if they touch you, you get an additional 15 yards on that.
Right. And a lot of times most teams don't know that.
Right.
Bobbled snap, and it looks like Gerald's going to jump on that. Bryce just never had it.
Oh, man. I'm like number 22 over there for Gerald. Malik Davis was jumping up and down before they even secured the fumble. But
Wow. Things are getting a little sloppy here for the Panthers. So
yeah, it was a combination. Usually in those situations, it's a combination of things. Not just the quarterback, not just the center on that exchange. Right. It's usually a combination of both, and the lack of focus on both.
That's right. That's right. I mean, it is almost halftime, and yeah, they do have a sizable lead, but Gerald takes over straight up at the 50-yard line here at midfield. 1st and 10. Shotgun formation. Knebel looks right. He throws it, and I thought Schwartzlosey was gonna.
And they still catch it off
Still
the.
Caught it. Landry Blackburn drives him out.
Yeah, and it looks like Beltran
catches it, and Blackburn pushes him out, but not after about. Well, they've got the chains a little bit messed up. But it looks like about a 6-yard gain.
This is our home. This is our home chains. Beltran catches it off the ricochet, essentially.
So we'll take that, though. 6-yard gain, 2nd and 4 from the Panther 44-yard line. Blitz look, play action. It bounces, and that he had Spradley on the slant, but it bounces up, and Walker Dietz was looking for his 2nd interception of the year. So.
Yeah, and what I was looking at with Spradley is that I won't say that was a drop pass on his. It was a combination because the quarterback didn't have to throw it that particularly hard. I mean, it had a lot of
zip on it, didn't it? Yeah. Oh. And I think that's almost a detriment sometimes because some of these receivers just can't handle it.
Right. If he would have let off a little bit on that one, it would have been an easily caught ball.
Yes, he was open. He throws it to the right side. It is high pass. It is caught for a 1st down.
Beltran went up and got that one.
He went up and got a high pass, yeah. And just enough for the 1st down. Down inside the 40, so they're going to go quickly. They throw it out. Same play. Again, he throws it out, gets about 5 yards. That clock should continue to run. Not sure why we have a stopped clock. Oh, they called timeout. I'm sorry.
Yep, that's it. They called timeout on that one, and that's all they're doing is the Panthers are giving. They're not pressing right now on the receivers, so they're giving room, which is understandable because you don't want them to do a double move and get behind you.
Right.
But if they're going to keep running that play, they don't have any more timeouts. So now you're going to probably see the deeper patterns that are going to be ran by Gerald, or I think we'll see that tunnel screen again, a receiver screen.
Yeah, they like to screen quite a bit, and they've got the ball at the 33-yard line. I like the design of the last touchdown was a wheel route, which seemed to fool the Panthers. So
well, I mean, yeah, because you saw Barnes take out from when he caught it to go, and he made the wheel around as a slot coming all the way back around and going down the sideline.
Right. Dakari Barnes with I think both of the Gerald touchdowns tonight. So we're back to action here, and Knebel, he's running back. He's got pressure on him. Rangel. And it might be. Does he drop the flag? No, he must have been just outside the tackle box. But, man, Gabriel Rangel was on him like a fox.
Yeah, I was looking to see if he made it to the line of scrimmage, and there it is.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, they're going to.
They said he didn't make it, and that's where the wind hurts you as well, because if you're Gerald, you're going into the wind right now, and you can hear it in our crowd, Mike. Man, the wind really seems to be picking up. And what did you say we started out with? What was the wind?
The wind was at 10 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah. That's still a gusty wind. That's not easy to deal with.
But right now it says it's 12 miles an hour, but it's got to be gusting a good 15 to 20.
Yeah. So 10 seconds remaining here in the first half of play as Gerald's trying to get a quick score here.
So the ball's going to rest at about the 41-yard line of the Panthers. It's going to be about 3rd and 13. There's 10 seconds left
Well,
in the half.
Price is on the field. He's all the way on the left wideout. You got to watch our slot. You got to watch for him.
So he throws it right. It's going deep. He's got a couple of receivers. It's broken up there. Looks like.
And was that
Hayden? Dietz was in there.
Dietz and Tolliver.
Tolliver and Scholke and
yeah.
I'd have to see the replay, but
that was a wild inning to a first half. That
was. So great job there by the Panthers on breaking that up. So
well, I guess we go into we'll go into our halftime show, and I know normally that we'll get the sponsors in also for the Panther Posse as well. They have their diamond sponsors and all, so we'll get that ready and get that ready and queued up here, and hopefully get that to you soon.
So the Panthers lead at half, 42-14, and we're going to cut away here for the sponsors here in a second. But as you see them, they're setting up for homecoming. And Gerald's got quite a presentation. Looks
right.
Like,
so we'll get to
out.
see some of Gerald's band as we talk here in a little bit.
Hello Panthers, I'm Clay Scarborough, Principal of Navarro High School, where our primary purpose is to graduate well-rounded citizens who are prepared for college, career, and leadership opportunities through our values of excellence in academics, extracurriculars, family, and community. This is the Principal's Report for October the 17th through the 23rd, not far from Halloween. Remember students, we don't wear costumes at school on Halloween Day. Progress reports will come out this week. Make sure you're taking care of what you need to in your classroom so those grades are where you want them to be. And remember students, that means all the way across the board. Some of you may have a failing grade. Obviously you want a passing grade in that situation. Some of you may see an 85, you want a 90. So do what you have to do to get those grades where they need to be. Well, thank everyone for the homecoming fun of last week between dress-ups and the parade, the games. It's a great opportunity for our community to come together in a wonderful spirit for our school. Now, it's 5 weeks until Thanksgiving when this airs. So in between that time, we're going to have lots of school, volleyball playoffs, football playoffs, band marching contest season, cross country. We'll go to regionals. Tennis, congratulations to you guys for making the playoffs. I know it was a rough by-district match, or draw if you will, but lots of stuff going on between now and Thanksgiving. So over the next 5 weeks, let's get a lot of stuff done in the classroom, have a lot of fun with these extracurriculars, stay focused. The next 5 weeks are really important academically because they'll set you up for the remainder of the semester. So let's focus on that, and let's make it a great 5 weeks. All right, so let's talk about the week that was here at Navarro. Last Friday night, Football defeated Lago Vista to open their district season 42-21. Volleyball lost to Fredericksburg. Then on Saturday, band won the Rough Rider contest, with the color guard winning best color guard at that particular contest. On Tuesday, tennis lost in the bi-district round of the playoffs, but congratulations, guys, for making it. Y'all had a great run and really had a rough draw in that first round. Volleyball lost to Davenport also on Tuesday. Thursday, both freshmen and JV sub-varsity football teams won big over Gerald. And then our cross-country girls, they took second at the district meet, and they're moving on to the next round. This weekend, the things that we will update here on the Principal's Report for you next week. Volleyball is at home versus Bandera, part of our homecoming adventures. And Friday, football hosted Gerald in the homecoming game, so we'll update that for you. Both are key district matches. And then Saturday, band was at Region. Now, that was at Hero Stadium here in the San Antonio area. So looking forward to talking about them and the possibility of moving on. The week ahead, so on Tuesday, volleyball will be here versus Bernie. That's at 5 and 6 p.m. Thursday, JV football is here at 6:30. And then freshman football is at Wimberley that day. Then on Friday, volleyball is at Wimberley and football is at Wimberley. So we're going to head over to Wimberley and have a lot of fun with volleyball and football. Okay, it's now time for student questions and Scarborough answers. Here's the first question today. Do you play golf? If you have, what's your lowest score? Well, back when I had time for golf, and that was pre-kids, and I've got a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old now, I was in the low 80s fairly consistently, 85, 83-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. But then kids came, time came, money became not necessarily an issue, but I decided to spend some money elsewhere. Golf is not cheap. So right now, if I went out and played, if I broke 100, I would be thrilled. And whoever I go play with is going to have to help me with something. I hit a ball about 300 yards off the tee box. Problem is, between all my fungo hitting from coaching college baseball and playing college baseball, I have a wicked slice. So I can hit it 150 feet straight and 150 feet to the right. And I'd have to work on that and get that out to be effective again. So whoever I play with, I hope you can help me with that in the near future. And if you could teach one subject, what would it be and why? I taught technology applications at the middle school level for 10 years. Thoroughly enjoyed it. But I think I probably want to come back and teach history. I'm kind of a history buff, especially when we talk about World War II and world history. So I think teaching world history would be really, really interesting to me if I got that opportunity. Maybe another speech class. I taught that before, but I think communication is very powerful. So probably world history would be the number one pick to come back and teach again. All right, so look forward to seeing you at all these events, guys. What a great week it was here in Navarro. Another 5 amazing weeks coming up before Thanksgiving. Let's stay focused and have a great week, everybody.
Okay, we're back. Here up in the press box, we've got Scott Kibbe from the Seguin Gazette. He's going to bring us the halftime stats, the first half stats, sorry.
All right. For Gerald, 5 first downs, 6 rushes for 6 yards, 123 passing yards on 12 out of 22 attempts with 1 interception. 3 punts for an average of 48.7 yards. They had 2 fumbles, lost them both. 5 penalties for 45 yards. Leading receiver for them, Beltran, 5 catches, 53 yards and a touchdown. For the Panthers, some pretty impressive numbers. 15 first downs, 29 rushes for 364 yards, 105 yards on 2 out of 5 attempts with 1 interception. So 469 yards from the Panthers, and we're only at halftime.
Wow.
No punts. They tried 1, but didn't work out. 3 fumbles, lost 2. 5 penalties for 50 yards. Meebane leads with 6 carries, 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. Landon Taylor, 2 carries, 80 yards and a touchdown. And Cohen Blunt, 8 carries, 59 yards. The receiving for the Panthers, 2 catches. Garcia, 1 for 54 yards and a touchdown. Blackburn, 1 for 51 and a touchdown.
Wow. That's, that's pretty amazing to see. You said 469 yards total offense for the Panthers in the first half?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we normally average close to, well, you were saying 300 yards a game, I believe.
We average run 299 and then 30 yards passing. So
Yeah, 329 yards or so.
Could easily go over 600 yards tonight, maybe to 700. It's going so.
Yeah, I mean, me and Lance had talked about this. Is that you could see where Gerald could be dangerous on their offensive side of the ball. It just seems like their defense can't get the stops that their offense really needs. Other than a few turnovers here or there, but and some mistakes by the Panthers. But other than that, I mean, their defense has not been able to, really do anything to affect the Panthers' offense. As long as the Panthers aren't making mistakes, holding or false starts or whatever the case may be, as long as they're, just doing what they do, I don't think Gerald can stop them.
No, I mean everything the Panthers are doing now is pretty much working. Especially Mebane gets the ball. You feel like he can go anytime, but I think that offensively, Gerald, their timing's still a little bit off on that passing game. Their passes that are high, their passes are a little bit out of position because they've had some opportunities. They've had some balls go through their hands.
Right.
Worries you a little bit because as we've been talking, Wimberley tends to have that part of the game down pretty well.
We hadn't mentioned that at all. No, I'm just joking. That's kind of what me and Lance have been talking about. Is that you can't let letting these receivers get behind you and drop some of the balls. Then what's Wimberley going to do? So you've got to. I'm sure everybody is thinking that as well. That is a big football fan. Does you just can't let that happen, or Wimberley's going to take a huge advantage of you and making big plays.
Yeah, and Don's Coach Blunt mentioned that last week that Lago also gave up some plays. That had dropped some passes and all where they could have had some plays. But,
exactly.
Other thing, as great a first half as it is, got a little sloppy at the end.
Yeah.
The punt, the 2 turnovers, kind of. Maybe give them some things to concentrate on because you obviously can't do that.
Right.
You step up against better opponents.
Yeah, and you just can't have that lack of focus, and that's what me and Lance were talking about. What between even the quarterback and the center on that exchange, if you're missing that, sometimes it's just a lack of focus on. On both. And usually I always say when that happens, it's not just the quarterback, it's not just the center, it's a combination of the two. But, for the Panthers, I think, though, on the defensive side, I think they've done fine. And it could have been a lot worse if they didn't have some of the ball bounce their way on some of the turnovers, the fumbles and the interceptions, that sort of thing, too. So. And they were in the right position getting pressure on the quarterback. So
yeah, I think they've just got the 1 sack, which is on the grounding call, but they put good pressure on him all night. He's been able to get rid of the ball, but he's not been able to sit back there and pick him apart.
That's right. And he's got a heck of an arm, though.
He does. That touchdown pass.
And me and Hank were talking about it. It's almost like sometimes he throws the ball so hard that his receivers can't catch it. But I agree. Impressive numbers from the Panthers, but. I was going to say, and y'all mentioned it, the 2 fumbles is kind of could be good because it may keep the coaches and keep the Panthers focused or something to talk about because, man, if it wasn't for those 2 fumbles, it would have been a lot of really good stuff.
Give them something to yell about at halftime and talk about.
You always want something to yell about, right?
Yeah, well, looks like we're going to get ready for homecoming here. And so, Scott, we think we'll see a lot more of what we already have seen. So, but we get to see your articles in the Seguin Gazette, correct?
Yes.
All right. Yep. And then on Facebook as well. So we're going to have to let you go and get into the homecoming. So thank you so much for joining us. Well, now I'm going to turn up the crowd mic, and here's your homecoming court and all those class favorites, all that good stuff, man. We love it.
Should be fun. Looking forward to it.
Yes, sir.
And Ellie Coelho. Nick is the 15-year-old son of Dustin Miranda and Leslie Wisner. The junior class favorites are Matthew Holmes and Kaya Castle. Kaya is a 16-year-old daughter of Sean and Mariah Castle. Matthew is a 16-year-old son of Scott and Lori Holmes. The senior class favorites are Helen Whitehead and Jason Ye. Jet Ye. Whitehead is the 17-year-old daughter of Lisa Wright and James Whitehead. Jet is the 17-year-old son of Sean and Jessica Yang. Now the homecoming king and queen nominees. The first nominees are Drew Pena and Mariela Soto. Mariela is a 17-year-old daughter of Marco and Tawana Soto from Kingsbury, Texas. Mariela enjoys cheer, band, and gardening. She plans on going to Texas Tech or A&M to study architecture. Drew Pena is a 17-year-old son of Mr. and Mrs. Pena. His interests include serving the Lord, playing the guitar, and telling cheesy jokes. He plans on pursuing a career in nursing and ministry work. The second nominees are Carly Koenig and Paxton Santone. Carly is the 17-year-old daughter of Matt and Jody Koenig. She's an athlete on the varsity volleyball and varsity basketball. She is the current president of National Honor Society and a student council member. She enjoys spending time with her family and friends. She plans on attending a 4-year university to study forensics and investigative science. Paxton is a 17-year-old son of Jonathan and Sarah Santone. He enjoys varsity football, golf, and track for the Panthers. He is also a member of the National Honor Society. He coaches Little League football and loves pancakes on the football field. He plans to attend a 4-year university studying animal science. The third nominees are Melina Tavares and Marco Moncada. Melina is the 17-year-old daughter of Jose and Brenda Tavares from Seguin. Her hobbies include playing the saxophone in the high school band, being a comedian, and a beatboxer. She will attend Texas State next year and major in radiation therapy. Marco is a 17-year-old son of Mark and Holly Moncada from St. Marcos. Marco enjoys baseball, hunting, fishing, and Saturdays with the boys. His plans for college are to acquire a degree in electrical engineering and not strike out to Mr. Scarborough during batting practice. The final nominees are Tatum Harbaugh and Jaden Gomez. Tatum is a 17-year-old daughter of Gerald and Tammy Harbaugh from Geronimo. She's an exceptional athlete that plays basketball, tennis, and volleyball. She enjoys hanging out with her friends. Next year, she plans to attend A&M and study animal science. Jaden, a.k.a. Smiles, is the 17-year-old son of Rico Puentes and Jeanette Telemontes. Jaden enjoys making people's days better by making them laugh. It's infectious, says Miss Jensen. He enjoys playing football and hanging out with the boys on the weekend and late cleaning. He plans on going into the manufacturing workforce while attending college and earning an associate's degree. We would also like to welcome back our 2021 homecoming king and queen, Jarrell Hudson and Zach Porter. And now, the results. The 2022 Dukes and Duchesses are Mariela Soto and Mercado Moncada, Melina Tavares and Drew Pena. The 2022 Prince and Princesses are Tatum Harbaugh and Jaden Gomez. And your 2022 homecoming king and queen, Paxton Santo, and Carly Cohen. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, your 2022 homecoming king and queen, prince and princess, dukes and duchesses. And now stick around in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned for the Navarro Panther Dazzlers.
All right, we're back.
All right. Yeah, I've got some area scores that I'd like to go over before the Dazzlers get out there. Seguin Matadors have taken the lead 27-20 over Hayes Consolidated Hawks. And Llano still up big on Marion Bulldogs 35-7. Wimberley up big over Manor New Tech 56-0 there in the third quarter. And then you have Lago Vista 56-0 over Austin Achieve in the third quarter as well. So now you have the Dazzlers out there. But go ahead. You had some games.
I was going to say, it looks like Lavergne is continuing their season. They've won their past couple games since we lost to them out in Lavergne. They're up 10-3 over Floresville at half. And then maybe a couple teams we may see down the line. Pearsall is beating Bandera 22-21. 10 minutes left in the first quarter.
Wow, what a game there, though.
And then Divine is beating up on the Carrizo Springs Wildcats 54-0. So,
unbelievable.
The other one let's mention is the San Antonio Davenport Wolves, who they're in not our football
but volleyball
district,
and
but
track
volleyball.
and all them.
They are beating the Canyon Lake Hawks 28-23 with 8 minutes left in the third quarter. And then two teams that we've played, the Smithfield Tigers are getting 7-0 at half.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, and last one I'll throw out there is the Sinton Pirates are up 29-0 over the Orange Grove Bulldogs.
Yeah, and that was
8 minutes in the third.
Yeah, and I think that was, to me, that was kind of expected. Sinton is still on our radar, but, man, I'm telling you, out of our district here in 13-4A Division II, I think you'll see,
right,
two teams out of this district will get to the regional finals or have a really good chance to.
Yeah, so those are some interesting scores here in Week 8 of Texas high school football here in the region.
Well, now we have the Dazzlers, so we'll kind of tune in and watch the Dazzlers.
All right, I'm back here. Lance Blackburn here with Hank Peter here up in the booth here at halftime. We're going to talk real quickly about the scoring drives for the Panthers. The Panthers got off to a 7-0 lead with a long pass here to Landry Blackburn, 51 yards for the touchdown on their first drive. Second drive was Gerald. Second drive was a 44-yard touchdown run by Antoine Mabane, put Panthers up 14-0. On the fourth Panther drive, we went 96 yards. Cropper brought it in from a 1-yard touchdown run, but man, that was an impressive drive.
Oh yeah, it was.
Put us up 21-7. On the fifth Panther drive, we went with a 40-yard touchdown run by Antoine Mabane, put us up 28-7. The sixth Panther drive was a 54-yard pass to Caleb Garcia. And
that was a surprising one. That's one that kind of surprised me. We didn't see it, and it was tipped by the defender as well.
It was a deflected pass. Put us up 35-7, and then the final scoring drive for the Panthers was their 8th scoring drive. Was a 71-yard run by Landon Taylor. Put us up 42-7. But Gerald did score another touchdown on a 25-yard touchdown pass to Dakari Barnes. So.
Yeah, I think that, the Panthers just cannot, here, what I think they have to do is work on their pass defense. This is the perfect team to do it with as the Panthers come out now from the tunnel.
So here in the second half, a couple of things I'd like to see is sharpen up a little bit on the pass defense.
Right.
And, they didn't have a ton of passing yards. They had 123 yards, 12 for 22 for 1 touchdown. But we know what's coming next week, right?
Right.
So do that. And let's clean up some of the fumbles that we had there kind of late.
Right.
And I think if we do that and
I'm there
play
with you.
Panther football and grind the clock and take this homecoming victory.
Yeah, I think that the Panthers, though, have to take and not, again, I'm going to say this over and over again tonight, especially you're up, complacency. Don't be content with what, way things are now. It's like you still have to strive to get better on every single play. Everything you do out there, you're looking to improve. And you don't want to regress like we did at that last 2 minutes or so of that first half.
So Gerald's going to receive the second half kickoff. Panthers will be kicking from their own 40. And the mystery of the year is which kicker's going to kick. We've got 3 of them down there who kick off.
Yeah.
And the ball blows off the tee. I tell you, I went out at halftime there to get some fresh air. And the wind has really picked up. I mean, the winds, it says it's only 14 miles an hour, but I'm telling you, it's gusting a good 20, 25 miles an hour. So.
Yeah, and now the officials stopped the time for a little bit, and now they've reset it.
So it is going to be Sneed with the kick. He kicks it deep in the gap. A great kick.
Yeah. I think that's his first touchback of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
And not only that, he hit the gap.
Yeah.
He didn't kick it to the man. And that's always kind of been my rule on kickoffs is kick it to, I don't care if it's a gap 10 yards or 20 yards or 40 yards, but kick it to the gap and make them make a play, right?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want it to go right to them easily and they could field it and get upfield with no problem, but I did like that fact. And I also he had the wind behind him. You take advantage of it and no return, getting it into the end zone. And again, I think that is Sneed's first touchback of the year.
So 2 receivers to the near side. Motion he does hit the motion man as a screen out to the running back, and he is met hard in the hole. Who was that? That was Landry Blackburn comes up and sticks his nose in there. And to nibble it after let's see, it's about
and it was like just a little swing pass coming around to the outside and taking it real close to the sideline, and that was actually a nice catch because it's a 9-yard gain on the play.
It was, and so it's going to bring up 2nd and 1. Same formation, same basically Jaquez And, I think what they're doing is trying to throw the ball short. Maybe the wind is affecting them,
yeah.
right? So
Throw it short and then maybe set it up for with one of those tunnel screens or another. You can do a little slant with the wind because we see Knevel can take and really, zing that ball. And even with the wind, it shouldn't affect it that much. But, man, that was a loss on the play.
So the Panthers kind of bring a little bit more press coverage. They do hand it this time straight up the middle. It's a sizable gain. He loses his helmet. He's out across the 40-yard line. That is going to be a first down for the Cougars.
Yeah, that helmet just came off way too easy. I'm like, do you not have the chin strap? I know that they're made to slide off a lot easier, but I always feel like if you don't have that chin strap right, then, yeah, that will happen.
So they move the ball out to the 42-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Cougars. 2 receivers to the near side, 2 to the far side, 1 back in the backfield. Knevel calling the... And we do have a whistle from the officials.
Is that a delay? The play clock.
The play clock is at 0.
But don't know if. Yeah, I guess it was. It from the time that we looked at running off the running back running off the field.
Right. So that's going to bring up 1st and 15. Back it up to about the 37-yard line of the Cougars. So Knevel looks at his wrist for the play. He rolls to his right. It's a double move. He throws it, and
oh man, Blackburn almost had that one.
The double move on Blackburn, but he does recover, and it hits him. It was an over-the-shoulder catch.
Yeah, those are not easy. But I mean, the wind again. You could tell the wind affected that ball because if it wasn't windy, I would bet that ball would have been right on the numbers. Because the defender again got behind the Panther defense.
So he rolls back. It's a middle screen across the middle. It's a Spradley, and he picks up looks like around 5 yards. So the Panthers, that was a play that went for big yards in the first half, and it looks like they must have talked about that there at half.
Yeah, I think the linebackers stayed at home a little better, but they did let go. They let that front line go as they were out of the way, and that's how you do it. You get the defensive lineman going upfield, throw the ball back, come right behind where the defensive linemen were, and Panthers linebackers did a good job on defending that.
So 3rd and 10, he gets a lot of pressure. Bo Brumley runs by. He's going to throw it. He throws it deep into, and it's, Spradley drops it. Good for us, bad for him.
Well, and that's where you're like, it's been kind of the theme tonight where we've seen a lot of drop passes where there's been a lot of opportunities by Jarrell Cougars receiving corps, and they've dropped at least 4 tonight.
And he was open.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's, again, and we keep saying it. We're harping on this, but, man, they've had some open receivers tonight, and that does not bode well going in for next week. So.
Yeah, and what I saw is Panthers are playing zone all the way. I mean, it was no doubt.
So the punt's up. He's going to let it drop. It hits about the 30-yard line and rolls sideways here towards us, and it's going to be basically downed at about the 27-yard line, and that's where the Panthers will start their first drive of the second half here with 10 minutes remaining in the third quarter. It's Panthers 42, Gerald Cougars 14.
Yeah, and what you're seeing is the Panthers, having to now they're going to have to take time off the clock, play good, smart football, and I don't see them doing any kind of trick plays, nothing like that. It's just straight up Panther football, slot T.
The Panthers hand it off. It's Mabane. He kind of stumbles. The turf monster gets him. He stumbles out to about the 30-yard line. They'll place it at the 29, so he's going to gain 2 yards to bring up 2nd and 8.
Yeah, and I don't know how the offsides was not called against Gerald, because it looked like an interior or the tackle, defensive tackle was in the neutral zone.
So handoff, it looks like Cropper. He's got a lot of room. He bounces it to the outside, and he shows some good speed, and he's pushed out inside about the 35-yard line of the Cougars.
Yeah, they're going to mark it at the 38, but hey, I'll take that any day. You know, that was good blocking. If you saw it coming around on that, basically like a sweep, coming around that right side of the offense, and everybody did their job, and you know, it's wide open on the outsides. And that's what I thought. You hit the middle early, you know, which we saw with Cohen Blunt, and then you hit the outsides.
So inside the 40-yard line, that is Cohen Blunt. Speaking of him,
there we got to get it.
He churns up for a nice sizable gain as they unpack the bodies. He got about 7 yards on that, so it's going to make up a 2nd and 3 for the Panthers.
Yeah, that's a good hard run. Now you bring in Diego Chapa that has a little speed at the fullback too.
And the Panthers are rotating their backs quite a bit tonight.
And you like to see that. You know, Landon Taylor comes in for Mabane, and they're mixing it up quite a bit. So now, that was quickly read. I mean, and good job by the defense, you know, picking it up by Gerald.
Yeah, there was really no gain. It looks like he actually, the officials are still moving it.
Oh, they're saying it was offside, so we'll take that.
That's going to be a first down for the Panthers.
Yeah, what looked really terrible. No wonder he got in the backfield. And I thought it was hard to tell if he timed it right or not. And I wasn't going to say it because tonight I hadn't seen a lot of the calls, you know, that I thought they were offsides.
So the Panthers will have 1st and 10. They hand it off to Mabane. Mabane's he's taking that to the house, folks. That's an easy Panther touchdown. He cut inside. Noticed that there was a bunch of green grass outside.
Yeah, and you know, the blocking ahead as well made that, made that play where he could just walk in. I mean, nobody was going to touch him. But once you get, you know, to that 2nd level and 3rd level, this was a case where it's the 3rd level because you got somebody on the safety. Good block. Oh, a skip little. We have a interception that looks like it could go all the way for Gerald, as it was a miss or a bad snap, and Schulke threw it and threw the interception.
And he returns it all the way back.
Yeah, that's 100 yards, and then he gets knocked down. Oh, my goodness. I believe that was, let's see if we got a flag on the play. I heard a whistle, but that's a 2-point conversion.
Right.
That goes in favor of Gerald. Schulke gets the bad snap, goes up and tries to throw it in the middle. And I
was trying to see a replay. That's what I was been hunting down, but I couldn't tell. But that was a heck of an athletic play.
Yeah, I believe it was Braden Bolliard that returned it for the. I believe it was about 102 yards, as he was about 2 yards deep into the end zone, and he returns it for a 2-point conversion for Gerald. Let's see what official has to say. It's good. And there's a dead ball foul, unsportsmanlike conduct that goes against the Panthers. I'm sorry, it goes against Gerald.
So that will be,
and that will probably be assessed on the kickoff.
And run back for 2 points by Gerald.
So Mabane takes it home from 25 yards for a 25-yard touchdown. I wanted to mention there was an excellent block from the opposite side by Matthew Richardson, who came from a right tackle or a strong tackle position and just really sprung him at the very end there. But the score is 48-16 with 8:14 left here in the 3rd quarter. So we had some fireworks again, man. This game is nothing short of entertaining.
Yeah, we've got to work on the long snaps. We had that snap that goes over the head of the punter, Landon Taylor, when he was in. To punt the ball. That's happened. And then we had a bad snap here on the extra point. Schulke tries to force it in, and then it looked like that was Braden Bolliard that took it 102 yards for a 2-point conversion going the other way for Gerald. And so, working on those little things, because you can't have those in a tight game. You cannot have those kind of things happen. So there's still some, there's still going to be a lot of coaching points that are going to need to be made in after this game. No matter what the score ends up being, there's a lot of room for improvement for the Panthers. Not to say they've done a bad job tonight, by no means.
No, not at all.
They've done a great job overall, and we're just pointing out and being particular about a few of the little things that we think the coaches are going to probably have to point out.
So Sneed kicks it, and he's going to kick it back through the back of the end zone. So it will be a touchback, but we do have a flag. It looks like there were some extracurricular activities on the near sideline against, and it looks like it could be going against the Panthers.
Well, I will tell you that it wasn't really extracurricular. It was during the play, and I think it was one of the
Delaney.
Yeah, I think it was
44.
Delaney, 44, and he was running down the field.
And
the other player just stood there,
pushed him in the back,
and I was like, okay,
yeah.
So that was one of those. You got it on the second time around on the YouTube, which we were presenting this on YouTube. And remember, you could always take and slide it back a little bit if anybody needs to watch the replay. They can do that.
That's right. Yeah. So the ball's going to be resting on the 40-yard line for the Cougars, their own 40. So they'll start their second drive of the second half here at their 40. One receiver to the near side, trips to the far side. Panthers show blitz. They do hand it off. It is a run blitz, and he is tackled for no gain.
Yeah, there was all three of the front linemen that were there were right on it.
So Niblett brought down for no gain to bring up 2nd and 10 for the Cougars.
Somebody we haven't talked about much. It looked like number 65, the senior, Ross Strickland, was in on that tackle.
So the snap back, he looks, he throws, he's got a receiver deep, and he catches it in stride. That's going to be Walker Dietz and that's going to be a walk-in touchdown there for the Gerald Cougars. He just ran basically right by the freshman cornerback.
Yeah, and that's the one we were talking about. If you let somebody get behind you, and if that pass is on the money, which that time it was, and that's against the wind, and you're looking at that pass going down, and just getting at it. Looks like he caught the back end of the ball too.
Right.
Good job.
Yeah, it was
by
a
Dotson.
great catch by Mason Dotson, and he, again, the skill players, and we've said it a bunch of times tonight. They can. Oh, the Panthers almost blocked that, but the kick is up and good, and so that's going to bring the score. Navarro Panthers 48. Jarrell Cougars 23, 7:34 left here in the third quarter, and I tell you what, this game is certainly entertaining and full of
surprises.
Full of a lot of surprises, a lot of big plays. You can't. I mean, I'm looking down trying to write down the score, and they're throwing, returning a
2-point conversion, 102 yards,
and I can't even ride fast enough. So
wow, and Seguin Matador still ahead of Hayes Consolidated. 34-27 with 2 minutes left in that game. And Marion's still behind 35-7 with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Wimberley up 63-0 against Maynard New Tech. And the Lago Vista Vikings have scored a total of 70 points in that game. They win it 70-0. That game's over against Austin Achieve. So Lago Vista puts up 70 points.
Well,
and I would figure that Wimberley would have easily had already done, but they beat Maynard New Tech 63-0. That is final.
Well,
so next week, Wimberley.
And and we talked about this. We're not nitpicking here, the Panthers, but we're looking when you're up big like we're up right now. We're looking for little things for them to clean up, because if they do this next week, it's not going to be a good result. So
yeah, you can't let big plays happen like that. I mean, and it's just a matter of knowing the situation, and you cannot go for double moves. You know, you always keep the offensive player, and you play the player, you keep him in front of you.
So they do try a onside or a pooch kick, but the wind, I think, affected
yeah.
that again.
I mean, that ball took some weird, you know, turns up in the air, and you could tell the wind had some effect on it, and it went right out of bounds. And so, Panthers will take it 5 yards from where it went out of bounds, I'm assuming.
So it doesn't work out for the Jarrell Cougars there on that. Poorly executed, somewhat, and the wind, I think, had something to do with it as well. But they will get the Panthers will get the ball on the Gerald side of the 50 at the 48-yard line here for their second drive in the second half.
This is the second time I see Colton Chambers. He's running in. It's like, what? You know, I want to play some more. And I think they want to give him a little breather in there.
So they hand it off to Cropper straight up the middle. And he picks up, it looks like, about 3 yards. And yeah, I think Blunt, I would be shocked if we saw Mabane maybe come back in, or Colton Chambers, who both have had some injuries here.
I'm okay with Bryce Nall coming out too, and going, you know, with Schulke.
And I'm all right if we keep the ball on the ground for the rest of the game. So,
me too.
They hand it up. That is Chapa. It's straight up the middle. He's pushing for a first down. He's going to be a little short out across about to the 40-yard line of the Cougars.
Yeah, he made something out of nothing. He was a hit, and as soon as he got the ball, and then he's able to churn and turn and was able to use that speed and explosion he has to get upfield and make it now 3rd and 1. And that's what you'd love to see, is that desire to get forward, go forward.
So they do hand it straight up the middle. He is going to push forward for the first down. Can't see who the ball carrier is, but nice movement by the offensive line.
That was Guetta that time. He came in now, which I'm okay with too. I'd rather see Chapa take some breathers as well, and you know, try to get, like you said earlier, Panthers are doing a good job of rotating their backs and keeping them. But now I'm okay with not rotating. Let some of the other guys run now.
So the ball rests at the 35-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Panthers. They hand it. Flag comes in. It is Caleb Garcia around the right side. He picks up a sizable gain, but that's in the nature area of the umpire calling holding.
Yeah, I see a couple. Yeah.
Or like earlier, it was a chop block.
Right.
So.
Well, let's see what we got. We got a couple of Panthers that are down. So we have injured players out there. I guess this is time to go over some of the. Did you have any more announcements?
I do have one more announcement, and this is something that just popped up. So the FCA met again this morning, and we usually do the FCA announcements. So they had a nice group this morning, but they made it. They're going to expand a little bit, and they've got they're going to start a men's group. So if you're a student and you're a male. Case Monroe, who plays on the football team, and Landry Blackburn are going to host a men's group and lead the group on Saturdays at 1:30 p.m. in the coach's office. So if you're interested in doing that, bring your Bible, bring your journal, and let those two young men lead you in your life there. So
and remember, let everybody know again, some may not know what FCA stands for.
FCA is the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. So and even if you're not an athlete, I think they'll welcome you into the room. But that's nice. I know that Sam Wegman had started the female side for the girls and started a new Bible study for them. So
okay.
So
really
it's
awesome.
It's nice to see all the seniors stepping in and one of their owns and being
nice.
leaders for the younger crowd there. So Landon Taylor along the right side after a big penalty against Navarro, the Panthers.
And I believe that was a chop block that they had
because it was
called.
15 yards.
Right.
But Landon Taylor gets most of it back there on the first down run. It's going to bring up about 2nd and 12. And he's got it down to the 37-yard line of the Cougars.
Yeah, now Panthers just taking their time. That penalty may actually help them as far as the time goes.
Back to the line. It's Landon Taylor again, the same play. And he rolls forward to about the 30-yard line of the Cougars. And they're going to mark it at the 31. It's going to bring up about a third and I'd say about 6.
Yeah, and it started out, first and 25 or so, or close to that.
Correction, 3rd and 6.
Yeah, that's right.
And now they've taken it inside to a manageable, 3rd and 6.
So 4:17 on the clock and counting here in the third quarter. Panthers to the line. They hand off to Cohen Blunt, and they get super low on Cohen this time and grab his ankles and basically pull him back for no gain.
Well, now let's see and that's the first time we've actually seen that tonight. I think,
right.
He's been able to move the pile, and that time they got him low, like you said, and once you get somebody low and take their legs out, they have nowhere else to go.
So the ball rests at the 30-yard line, 4th and 5 for the Panthers. Bryce hands it off. He throws it. They're going to rule it an incomplete pass. Bryce was being chased, and he tried to make something out of nothing.
Yeah.
And almost threw it. It almost looked straight down the line from our angle, but that's okay.
Yeah, it looked like it was that Garcia got just in front of him because he was still moving back. That's
right.
Bryce Nall, and it might have been just a half yard or so difference, but still a forward pass that went incomplete. But, I mean, you rather it not be a fumble either, and Gerald picks it up and goes the other way. So,
right.
So I think that, if that ball's caught, though, there's an opportunity there, but Gerald's kind of picked it up here and there, and so the Panthers, this is the third quarter, so Gerald in the fourth quarter will have the win behind him, so you got to be mindful of that as well.
So it's 1st and 10 at the Gerald 30-yard line after the Panthers end the drive on downs. They fake and he is tackled out there. They ran basically a little wheel route out of the backfield.
Yep.
That was Blackburn on the tackle, but a nice, sizable gain on a little wheel route. So it's going to bring up 2nd and about 3.
Yeah, I believe that was Niblett.
Niblett, yep.
Yeah, he
coming
gets
out of the
around.
backfield.
Man.
So they like that short screen and
little wheel routes or swing routes.
So again, I can't see who that is on the far. Oh, that's number 3, Dakari Barnes, picks up the first down. Again, they're playing the short game.
Yep.
They get a few yards. It's not a bunch. Panthers force them out of bounds with 2:53 left here in the third quarter.
Yeah, and Barnes is just, he'll go up and get it. We've seen that too, and you just can't let any of these receivers, Dotson, get down deep at all and get behind you.
So he throws it deep. He's covered well. Landry Blackburn on the coverage. That's Beltran, number 7.
Yeah, every time I hear Beltran, I think of the old Astro.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And so, but Beltran was slowed down definitely by Blackburn, not letting him get behind him, kind of, bodying up on him, which is fine. And you might want to see more of that.
So it looks like we're going to put a little bit more press coverage on him this time. He's back. He's looking. He's got a receiver, and he's getting pressure, though, and he doesn't. Oh, and Landon Taylor. It looks like he was going to just dump it off to the side there. And Landon Taylor jumps in front of it and almost intercepted it.
Yeah. and he's playing the defensive end on the right side there, and he goes straight down laterally and kind of – he actually pulled off the line as soon as he saw the quarterback go to the outside. And, you see him pull back into coverage, and he's out there in the front, and then he comes up and –
And I
so that was.
I don't know if he was trying to just throw it away so he didn't. He didn't get sacked because there wasn't a receiver really in the area.
No.
So it's going to bring up a 3rd and 10 from the 46-yard line. Again, he's got a man down the sideline.
Oh,
And that was, man, the safety, Nick Swartzlows, he got over there. But
I don't. What I was trying to determine is what kind of coverage that we had on that play, because the corner seemed to have released, or the front guys released him right away and let him go down. If we watch, he just lets him go, and it wasn't necessary. That was the free safety coming up,
right,
and lets him go. And Nick Swartzlows, he couldn't get over there in time, and that's a big break for the Panthers right there.
So that's going to bring up. I thought he called a timeout, but he didn't. And then they get a false start.
Yeah.
And Barnes is really frustrated with the quarterback there.
And then the player takes off his helmet coming to the sideline, and
man, Gerald just, they seem really. And he's just walking to the bench.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on there, other than somebody's not happy.
I think that might have been the center. It was supposed to snap it, or somebody was supposed to snap the ball, but he didn't. And man, so it brings up 4th and 15 with a little comedy there from the Cougars. He's back to pass. He's got number 3, but he's covered. Yeah. Again, he was kind of double. He's going to throw a flag.
That was uncatchable.
There's no way
it was going to be caught. This is – I mean, I thought it was good coverage. Yeah, there might have been a little hand fighting, but I thought it was good coverage all the way by the Panthers defense, and that was a sympathy flag, I think, that was thrown.
Well, and our cameras guys missed it, but yeah, he was just basically running through in between 2 Panthers.
Right.
And it's not like they didn't grab his arm or grab his hand. He just kind of had to,
Yeah, they restricted him a little bit. I mean, I thought it was totally uncatchable by him. The ball was 20 yards down the field.
So it brings up 1st and 10 from the Panther 44-yard line. Trips to this side. Looks like they were going to run a screen. He's got some pressure. He does dump it to Spradley here on the sideline, and he's tackled from behind by Jacob Arias, who kind of throws him forward. So he's going to get about 8 yards on it.
Yeah, I think that time when I was watching, Arias kind of, he committed to the quarterback a little bit early, even though he was watching Spradley on the outside, and he kind of sucked inside. And if he would have stayed out there, he would have made the quarterback Knebel, make a big decision on that one, and he would have had to thrown it away, I would have guessed.
So the clock's running, 1:45 left here in the 3rd quarter. He looks right, he throws right, and he throws a little bit out, and tell you what, that was a Mac Berry on the coverage on Spradley, and the angle was just a little bit too hard for Knebel to sneak that one in.
Right, because of where
Berry was.
Berry was, yeah. I mean, he had himself placed in a position where you had to make it. It had to have been a perfect throw in order for it to be complete. And a minute 41 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. I mean, this quarter seems like it's taken forever.
Well, and each team is had the ball twice. This is Gerald's 3rd drive of the quarter. He hands it. He keeps it, and he does a screen. And I think that's
somebody we hadn't seen. They're talking about. But
we have not. And that was number 81. Looks like Niblett's brother, Haim Niblett, number 81, senior.
Yeah, he comes in and makes a play. Now it's 1st down for Gerald.
So the ball's going to rest at the 26-yard line of the Panthers, 1st and 10. And they've got we haven't seen this formation tonight.
No, not where they have.
1 to the far side, 2 to the near side. There's a lot of pressure. He's going to be sacked. No, he spins out of it, and he throws it away.
Oh.
And let's see. No flags. So
I think it was Arias that was in the backfield there that had every opportunity to bring him down.
The officials are discussing it. Let's watch the replay on that one.
Yeah, we're you got the luxury of seeing it where Arias comes in and just could not bring him down.
And
good job by Knevel though. And
Knevel, yeah, he just chunked it as far as he could, and I guess he was just outside the tackle box.
All right, and no matter how far out of bounds he throws it, as long as it goes past the line of scrimmage, even if it's over here by the bleachers.
So 2nd and 10,
oh,
and there is a timeout.
I don't have a good feeling about this, Lance. So I'm looking at this going, the Panthers got to tighten some things up, and they have to get after it. Here's the QR code for the Audiovisual Club looking for donations, and this could be done with your camera on your smartphone. Just get your camera out, hold it up to it, and you'll be able to get the link that will take you to the PayPal account so you can donate whatever you have. I mean, just think of the price of admission, is, for most folks, you're looking at $8-10. So that would be a good point, a good place to start, right around there. So but any donation, no matter if it's $1, $5, $10, anything.
I saw someone gave us $100, or
are you
not
serious?
Give us, but give the Audiovisual Club $100 last
awesome.
week. So that was a great donation. I don't remember who that was, but shout out to the gentleman who did donate $100.
We appreciate that a whole bunch. Here we go, already back to the action.
So 2nd and 10 from the 26, motion from the Cougars. He does throw it back. There is a flag. The Panthers sniff it out really well, and I think that was Gabriel Rangel on the tackle.
Yeah, and I think, the illegal shift, I was up here going, that's an illegal shift. 2 men in motion at the same time. And
the Panthers declined that.
Yeah, they get it behind the line of scrimmage, and good job by the Panthers. Will bring up a 3rd down here.
That didn't fool the Panthers. They missed a good film study this week.
That's right.
We had a host of Panthers over there on the far side of the field. So that's going to bring up 3rd and about 15. The ball's resting at the 31-yard line, and the clock is moving to about a minute left here in the 3rd quarter. Panthers up by 25 points, so it'd be nice to.
You got to get I think you need to get a stop.
You need a stop.
Here.
Oh, he's running free. That's Matthew Richardson. He does dump it off, and Spradley, is that Spradley? Oh, and Matthew Richardson come back and strips the ball, and it looks like the Panthers.
Landon Taylor, I believe, was the one who actually stripped the ball there.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I saw the 3.
Yeah, and he rakes it out. And after what was going to be a pretty good game, but, man, Panthers make that stop that we were talking about. They really needed to stop. And all that time that was taken off the clock, and that was – and for naught, because the Panthers get another turnover. I believe was that the 5th? I believe that was the 5th turnover for.
And I think that was looked like Walker Dietz with the recovery.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're over there making notes, and you're doing a good job of it.
Yeah, I'm over here trying to look and see who it was. But the Panthers take over. They hand it off to the left side. And he moves it out to about the Panthers' 30-yard line. So they started at about their own 23, so that was a nice game.
Yeah, I think Panthers want to try to get a score back here, and so got 23 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter right now. And using some of the players like McBain and them coming back in, and we'll see what the Panthers have in store. They're going to let the clock run, though, and they're going to take it to the 4th quarter.
So it's 2nd and about 4. Panthers will have the ball at their own 30-yard line. Well, that's the end of the 3rd quarter. The Panthers up 48-23.
Yeah, and wow. That 3rd quarter was a little bit like, you know how that feeling is. You're just uncomfortable. You're not, You're not feeling great, but you're not feeling totally bad. But that's kind of how that 3rd quarter was for me. It was like, I have a little bit of upset stomach, maybe a little heartburn, but, because the Panthers just didn't look like the Panthers in that 3rd quarter that we were wanting to see. I mean, we did see one score by them, but I was really, wanting to see the Panthers kind of shut down Gerald here in the passing game. and they really haven't done that consistently. And that's what I think, you're going to – hopefully we can see the Panthers improve, from this week to next week because, we got to go to Wimberley, and that's a tough place to play as well.
It is. And we do need to clean up some stuff, so.
Yeah, I hate to harp on that because, otherwise, Panthers done a great job tonight, and very proud of the Panthers.
So it would be nice here to have a long, methodical 70-yard drive or so, or
yes,
actually
sir.
probably 77 yards. So they started at their own 23-yard line, but yes, Panthers come to the line. It is Bryce. Oh, he's hit. Choppa's hit immediately in the backfield. So it looked like a player came in unblocked.
Yeah, and I think what you're seeing is that over the time of this, of this 3 quarters that had already been played, you're seeing Gerald take chances and say, hey, I'm going to guess this guy's getting the ball. I'm going to shoot the gap and get in there. And that's what we're seeing. But Gerald pretty much is just say, hey, we're going to put all our guys within 10 yards practically of the line of scrimmage.
So Bryce with the long count here. And
timeout.
It was almost.
Well, 1 second remaining on the play clock, too.
So I'm not sure if he was trying to draw him off sides, but you could see his head bobbing, and he was barking the signals there. So that tells me usually maybe he was trying to, because, man, how many times has Gerald jumped off sides, especially in the first half? And they've cleaned that up here in the second half.
They have, and there's less penalties, that have – I mean, there's some penalties that have been thrown, but those type of penalties we haven't seen near as much. And I think throughout this game we've seen Gerald improve in almost all aspects of the game except holding on to the football. That if there's been one thing that, that would change this game and change this game quite dramatically would have been, drop passes and just the fumbles. If you take those two things, and it would be totally different. Right now, the ball game would be a lot closer than what it is now. So,
well, I'll tell you what. I was watching the Panther huddle there, and Coach Blunt is. Let's just say he's not happy.
Yeah,
he was barking at the lineman, and so McBain keeps it, and he's driven back. He popped back up, but then he was driven back, and that's going to bring up 4th down.
Yeah, I think the Panthers right now, you're going to have to see what they're going to punt into the wind, and what's it makes us a little nervous about it is you got Gerald with the ball, going to get the ball, and they're going to have the wind at their back. So. But, still wind either way still throws you off. If you may overthrow some, like we saw in the second quarter of the game.
Right. So Landon Taylor, he hesitates. He does a rugby low kick, which takes a great Panther bounce. Ends up being a great kick that rolls down inside the 30-yard line and is going to be down at about the 26, 27-yard line, it looks like, for the Cougars. So nice job there by Landon Taylor, not only delaying but keeping the ball low, letting his guys get down the field.
Yeah, and that's the kind of kick that we were hoping he'd get after that long snap over his head. And the first time they tried to punt in the first half.
That's right.
We were looking for the rugby style kick, and I guess he was just more nervous about getting it blocked than actually getting it downfield.
So Gerald takes over 1st and 10, their own 27-yard line. He hands it off. Neblett, he's getting pushed backwards, trying to get the corner. He does get the corner. He gets around, but he's driven out of bounds. Looks like by Nick Swartzlows, he finally forces him out.
Yeah, a couple of missed tackles there early on after contact.
I never thought he was going to get around the corner, to be honest with you. We had a host of Panthers over there, but they didn't make the play. So that's Gerald.
Go ahead.
No, Gerald's 1st down. So
we've seen the screen game, so I would expect us to see, some more screens in this screams. Yeah, it is October, but to see some more screens in this particular series, as they run them pretty well, as long as their receivers hold on to the ball. They can make big plays.
Right. I totally agree. Their screens. You know, the good news though is Wimberley's a big screen team,
Right.
and they do like middle screens. They like tight end screens. So I think this helps the Panthers in a way. So
Right.
1st and 10. Knebel looks right. He's got a little pressure, and he's just going to throw it out of bounds for an incomplete pass. Actually, really, really nice coverage there. There is a flag down, but I was going to say nice coverage downfield by the Panthers.
Hopefully, it's not going to be a hold all the way away from the, away from the play. I mean, all the way in the opposite side of the field. I mean, a hold against the Panthers. I'm looking at.
So the head ref is talking to Coach Blunt.
Okay, so they
and
waved the
they
flag.
waved the flag off.
It may have been against. We don't know if it could have been an illegal pick, and I don't know why Blunt would have, asked him to waive it, but the officials said they were going to waive it.
So that brings up 2nd and 10 from the 42-yard line of the Cougars. And he snaps back. He's back. He throws it to the right side. It's an out route. And, again, we just kind of keep the receiver. He's going to pick up about 12, 13 yards. Landry Blackburn on the coverage.
Yeah, Dotson just, hey, Dotson's been the big receiver tonight that we've seen a lot of big plays from him as well. Yeah, and he's been getting a lot of those little outs and going downfield. He got that big, long touchdown pass as well. So you got to watch for that young man.
So he's back to pass. 1st and 10. He's going to go long. It's down. It's a great the coverage was well, but man, it was just off the fingertips.
Yeah.
Of
I have to say the placement of that ball was as close as you could get it.
It was.
Man. Almost. I mean, I would have said a dime if it would have hit right in the hands, but he was just off a dime or two.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah,
it was close.
And now, I mean, Gerald's taking their time, so I mean, I would have been hurry up all the way, at this point.
So he's back to pass. 2nd and 10. Throws it. He's got a wide open receiver on a number 7. He's coming across, and he's brought down.
Beltran, man. I mean, after the catch, yeah.
It runs all the way across the field and is brought down by the defensive end, Landon Taylor.
Yeah, and now I'm telling you, I'm already thinking about the different people we've seen doing different things, the player of the game tonight, and that's going to be very difficult because I'm running through, a number of players in my head, and I would not even tell you who I could even think of right now.
So 1st and 10, inside the 20-yard line, about the 19. He's back to pass. He looks. He's got a receiver. Number 4, and Nick Schwartzlosey comes across as a safety. It was like a skinny post for Mason Dotson.
Yeah, he's looking at it. I mean, that ball was thrown 30 yards in the air and it was only about 8 foot off the ground. And that was with a lot of zip. And if Nick Schwartzlosey doesn't get a fingertip or two on that, that would have been a completion.
So he throws it out to the right side, and he's pushed out of bounds inside the Panther 5. And again, just the short game. Landry Blackburn pushes him out after giving up. I don't know, but Mason Dotson with
a big game for Seguin Matadors as they win. They beat Hayes 41-34.
So 1st and goal inside the 5 for the Cougars. He's back. He's looking right. He's got a slant. It's tipped up in the air. And who was that? Was Rangel. Got in front of it and tips it up. And, I mean, it went up in the air 30 feet or so and falls back down out of the back of the end zone. But, man, good coverage.
Oh, yeah, very good coverage. And getting that arm out there in front, knocking the ball, trying to knock the ball out, and then the ball goes up in the air. And, you know, you're hoping the tip drill would go in your favor in that one, but it almost went back in favor of Gerald. But still, good coverage, bottom line.
So 2nd and goal from the 4. He snaps, he goes right, he looks right, he throws it, and good coverage there. The pass, didn't look like he was going to score, even if he did catch it.
Yeah, that was it. And the way his body and his momentum was going, that's Dotson that was the intended receiver. Blackburn was able to get behind him and push him either way, but good coverage there, making sure he didn't make the catch.
So that's going to bring up 3rd and goal there. From the 4-yard line for the for the Cougars. 8:57 left here in the 4th quarter. Panthers up by 25. But it'd be nice to get a stop here, Hank. He's back to pass. He looks. He throws it, and he dumps it off.
He's just short.
Just short.
Wow.
They were wrestling down there, and it looked like Matthew Richardson and Landon Taylor.
Well, I mean,
and that was Niblett, I think, in the back.
Jamarian Niblett was right there at the goal. I thought he had an easy touchdown, but he stumbles. You know, the turf monster got a hold of him right there. He stumbles, and then as he's trying to gain momentum, he stopped short of the goal line. 4th and goal, big play here. We're going to call the troops. We haven't had much to celebrate. Let's see if we can get a big stop here by the Panthers defense.
And the ball is resting literally just outside the goal line. So it's 4th and less than a yard. And
what do we got? A timeout? I think we're going to see a timeout Panthers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is, it's interesting though that they're so close. And I know they're a spread team.
Right.
But you always hear this. You like to call it the goose play, but I mean they are so close. It's almost to the point where you get up there. And, you take 2 steps and you're.
Yeah, you're right there.
You're in the end zone. So.
Especially if you had a tall guy.
And well, their quarterback's 6'2", right?
Yeah,
I mean,
he's tall enough. You just stretch it over and protect it, stretch it over, pull it back, and that should be a touchdown.
Right.
Right. So
yeah, well.
But if the Panthers can get a good push, and this is what's. But one thing about a spread team, when they do spread you out here by the goal line, is that they spread you out so much is that there's so many different gaps and places they can go with just one fake,
But I do like the timeout by the Panthers because this is a situational timeout. This is something that's going to come up in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Down the road.
Yeah.
And 4th and 1 from the 1.
And exactly 8 minutes left here in the 4th quarter.
So we do have a shotgun formation. Kneble, he snaps it, he hands it, and he walks in.
Yeah, that's Niblett just walking it in.
So touchdown for the Cougars, and they're gonna, with an extra point, they would bring it to an 18-point lead. So.
Yeah, I mean, you let a lot of points. I mean, you let them put a lot of points on the board, and I think it was that. I talked about your fighting complacency, and that again shows up here as the Panthers don't. I mean, the physicality, the hustle, the focus. It seems like there was a little bit of that, lost in this second half.
So they are going to go for 2. He's rolling left. He throws it. He's got a wide open receiver, and that is Dakari Barnes is going to get the 2-point conversion. He was wide open. It was almost a rub route type situation.
And you had 2 players leave to go on the inside, from the outside receiver going inside, and he just pulls out off to the left. If you watch, both will take the outside receiver coming in, and the slot just goes to the out and runs basically the out route, and that makes it very it isn't easy to defend because you got the slot receiver and the wide receiver crossing, and they're running across right at the goal line, and it almost puts your defensive players in a position where they're almost running into each other anyway. So it's actually that's a perfect route to run. you
Right.
know?
Well,
Yeah.
and you see that a lot in the NFL and college, and
Yep.
and some people call it a rub route because you're basically almost
Right.
setting a pick or a pick route.
with their own players.
Right, with their own players, almost kind of running our guys into each other,
Mm-hmm.
or the defenders into each other. But, I tell you what, I would like to see the Panthers. I know it's late. There's 7:57 left on the clock, but I'd like to see a grind-out drive here of about 5 minutes and a touchdown for the Panthers. Because
Yeah, I'd like to see a drive for 7 minutes and 57 seconds.
True.
And score right at the last second.
There you
How
go.
about-
There you go. My bad.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. Either way, 5 minutes, 7 minutes.
I just
I want to score now.
I just like to see a Panther. We need some momentum.
Right.
Here in the second half. So a pooch kick, which I don't think it went 10 yards.
But we have the Panthers that have recovered it. Ian Palmer.
Onside kick recovered by 55.
Ian Palmer, jumps on it. And so that's good. And we've got half the field to go. I think we're going to set up shop here in Cougar territory at the 48-yard line. So,
I still think they can take about 4 minutes off.
well, they could. And a methodical drive of 3, 4, 5 yards, 6, 7, 8. They handed up the middle.
Now, that time I have to say that the offensive line, man, just really fired out. I'm sure, and they got some different players in there too right now, but they have a mix of starters as well. But, man, I thought they fired off the line with some vigor.
So that's going to bring up about a second and almost 7, 6.5, I guess. And the ball's going to rest just inside the 45-yard line of the Cougars. So nice gain. Handoff again up the middle. That's Cohen Blunt.
Man, Gerald, just using that momentum. Alec Castro just came in and made a big play to number 10 for him.
He's taken down by number 10, Alec Castro.
I didn't think that. I don't know. No, Cohen just kind of stood up there and wasn't running as hard as he was a little bit earlier in the game on that one. It seemed like it.
They just it's like it seems like we're a little off with everything at this moment in time. It's like, okay. But I like that first play. I mean, the way the offensive line fired out on that first down play.
So again, they stack the line. They hand it to Mabane. He gets around the corner, and it looks like he should have enough for the first down based off the spot there on the far sideline for the Panthers. And man, he just uses his speed there to get the corner, and it is a Panther first down at the 38-yard line of Gerald.
He goes out of bounds.
And we've got 6:26 left in the fourth quarter. Panthers up 48-31.
I'm not used to seeing the clock stop even you go out of bounds till you're inside the 2 minutes, when you're dealing with even college and some of their rules. But
they hand it off again up the middle. That's Diego Chapa, who's going to take it inside the 35-yard line of the Cougars. So nice, sizable gain there. About like you said, if you can just get 3.5, 4 yards, and it gets.
And don't go out of bounds unless you absolutely have to.
Don't go out of bounds. The clock's gonna hit the 6-minute mark here.
Yeah, but that play there with Mabane going out of bounds kind of hurt at the stop of the clock. But the way you deal with that is hurry up and get back and get another play off, a running play that is. So.
Oh, the ball's out.
Oh, no.
Oh, the ball's out, and it's rumbling around, and I still don't know who's got it.
Yeah, there's Gerald, 23.
Gerald does got it. And again,
Hayden Dotson, the sophomore linebacker, comes in and gets the fumble recovery. It just looked like a bad exchange from the quarterback to the intended running back here. It just never got in the hands of the running back, Cropper.
And that was Cropper, on the handoff. So
now you're going to see Gerald's offense back out there. We were looking for a nice grinded out drive, and everything was going okay until that play. And now the Panthers had four, I think they have 4 turnovers. Well, now Gerald has 5. So, man, kind of an ugly
back.
game.
He's got a bunch of pressure. He gets out of it. He's looking deep. He comes back to his intermediate route. And he's stopped, and he gets along the sideline. It looks like he's pushed out of bounds.
Yeah, Dakari Barnes, you know, he bobbled that ball right at the beginning, but you got to hand it to Knebel. He's the one who got free on the outside as the quarterback and was able to keep his eyes down the field, and he's able to see, you know, his receivers, and he sets up, gets his feet under him, and makes a good throw to Dakari Barnes, who takes it upfield. Big gain for Jarrell Cougars.
So first down inside about the 37-yard line of the Panthers. He throws it across the field to Spradley on a drag or a crossing route, and Spradley.
Yeah.
It's incomplete.
Yeah, Spradley had it right in his hands, and he drops it, you know, and that's what we've seen all night tonight by Jarrell Cougars, is that they have dropped a few of the balls tonight and fumbled some of them as well.
So it'll bring up a 2nd and 10 for the Cougars. They do hand it this time, straight up the middle. Neblett.
Yeah, I think Neblett was looking. Jamarian Neblett was looking for that crease and didn't quite get it. Good job by the Panthers defense closing it in,
and we'll take that.
Yeah.
We'll take a 4-yard gain with the clock running inside of 5 minutes now. 4:50 left here in the 4th quarter. It's 3rd and 7 from the 34-yard line of the Panthers. And it looks like you're going to either.
But he got the false start that does go against Jarrell Cougars. Man, this could be a big play here.
So it's 3rd and about 13, it looks like. And the ball's going to be at the Panther 39-yard line. He's back. He's looking. He's looked to his left. He's got Spradley again, and he's tackled from behind there. He was making a move, but that was Mac Berry coming up and running out of bounds there, but it looks like he hit his hand. Yes. But it's going to bring up a 4th down and about 5 from the Panther 32-yard line. 4:03 about left in the 4th quarter. He's back to pass. He rolls right. It's going to be an out route. He throws it low. There is a flag down. I don't know if he caught it or dropped it. Yeah. I was going to say it looked like a trap, and it was a trap, and there is.
And there is a penalty flag on
the let's see what we got.
Personal foul, face mask against
Gerald.
Declined, 1st down Panthers. We
Panthers.
finally have something to yee-haw about, because this quarter has been pretty much, you know, all Gerald for the most part, having the ball, maybe not scoring, but only once, but in this quarter. But they have controlled the ball and probably had the most plays in this whole second half.
Yeah, you got to wonder if the Panther defense is, you know, a lot of pass coverage and running, you know, maybe they could be a little bit tired.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of rotation up front. I mean, we had almost completely different defensive linemen, but we've kept the linebackers, defensive backs pretty much the same. So.
And I know there's 3:53 left here in the 4th quarter, and I know that we're up by what 17.
Yeah.
I still would like to watch or see the Panthers drive it down methodically and score just to get some momentum.
Right.
Going into next
some
week.
Confidence
get some
coming
confidence out of the offensive line again.
Oh, they're going to call this one. Wait a minute.
The penalty flag was for personal foul face mask call against Gerald, 15-yard mark on.
And they called it a completion, I'm assuming, during the play. So that's why, Blunt would have had to take the penalty now because this changes that.
All right. So
now defense is back out on the field.
Going to be 4th in about 17. He rolls to his right. He's getting pressure from Richardson. He just throws it up. He's got a receiver. Nope. And, man.
Yeah,
I tell you what.
If Dotson, can pick up the ball because he lost the ball in the lights. If he could pick the ball up, it went practically right in front of him.
And, yeah, it was like he had to look straight over his head and grab the ball. And, man, I tell you what.
That could have been, I mean, you take it within, take it to 10 points at this point, would still, with 340, would have been, pretty scary for the Panthers, even though it would have been still hard to overcome. But Panthers only scored 1 touchdown in this entire half as they were up 42-21.
And then they had
at halftime.
And then the interception on the bobbled snap on the extra point. So
and that 2-point conversion that went the other way.
So we've only scored 6 points here in the second half, but they didn't give it 1st and 10. But Bain looks like he's stretching it out to the sideline, and they stretch him all the way for it looks like almost no gain.
Yeah, and that was one of them where I would tell you to take and slide and don't go out of bounds so you don't stop the clock. Just keep the clock ticking.
Right.
So you got to have some awareness too. I mean, you're already going to be right at the first, where you're. They haven't changed the marker, so I'm looking at it going. It's first down, is what they're showing, but it should be actually second, I believe.
So I have a. It's it's 2nd and 10. I'm sorry. They hand it off straight up the middle, and it, like you said, I mean, they have it. Gerald's got 11 guys right at the line of scrimmage. If we could just bust through the initial wave, it's like we're gonna run in for probably an easy score. But man, they are, like you said, taking chances, hitting every gap.
Yeah, and that's right now. If you play
play action
right now.
I mean, it would be.
And just if you can get an all rolling out away from the pressure coming up the middle, and where he can still look down the field, I think that there would be somebody wide open.
So 3rd and 10, and they shoot the gap and they take Bryce and slam him down for a huge loss.
And that was real close to being offside. So now timeout by Gerald, I believe. Yeah. So now Gerald had taken one of their timeouts.
Yeah, I looked at the replay and I almost
It looked like he was offside.
It looked that was really, really close.
Really.
And I think that may be a nice way of saying it.
Yeah, Alec Castro was the one that I believe that was shooting in there, number 10 for Gerald, and he's been close several times. One time he was called offsides, but he's been just trying to find the right gap, and we do have a remedy for that, and there is some plays that would say, hey, yeah, you're going to come right up this way, we're going to come in right behind you with the ball carrier, and there's nobody home. And so there is ways to trap that person as well.
So Gerald looks like has 1 timeout left. There is 2:45 left here in the 4th quarter. It's 48-31. The Panthers have the ball, but it's 4th and almost 20. And we're gonna punt the ball here. So it is Landon Taylor. He does the rugby style kick, and it looks like Oh, he does field it, and he's got it, and he fights away. Man, he gets around the sideline there, and a host of Panthers push him out. But again, that's Price. Jelani Price. He's probably the best athlete on the field.
I would make sure to keep him out there. I would keep him out there on the offensive side of the ball and try to get him in space if I was Gerald, a little more often. Not all the time, obviously, because he plays such good defense as well.
So here we go. Panthers are 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Gerald's going to have the ball here at their own 43-yard line. And so there is some pressure. He is being chased. He gets to the outside, and he's just going to run out of bounds after about a 5-yard gain.
Canevo was actually showing a little bit of speed coming around that side. And we know he's not a running quarterback, but, he was able to run away from the defensive linemen that were chasing him. But, again, we're not containing as we did last week against Staub.
Right.
We had a better job of containing, not letting them get to the outside. And
stay in your lanes, right?
Yep, stay in your lanes. And we've had that problem tonight.
So he is flushed out again. He is going to throw it, and he just throws it along the sideline here to Takari Barnes. Takari Barnes looked like he was almost out of bounds, but incomplete pass. So
yeah. Now let's see. Let's see what's in store by Gerald. I mean, this is one of those. I'm sitting here going, man, you don't want to let Gerald score here.
So 2 minutes and 15 seconds. It's 3rd and about 5 for the Cougars. And he's back. He's looking to his right. He's got a receiver open. He catches it. It's Barnes, and I think he steps out of bounds just short of the first down marker. It's going to bring up 4th down.
Yeah.
He took a little back step, and his heel probably hit the white line, and it's going to bring up 4th and 1. So, but the clock does stop, and there is 2 minutes and 9 seconds left here in the 4th quarter. So 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. And he does a little hitch move. He gets the first down easily, and nice catch there. And that was, again, that was by Dotson. Mason Dotson again. So they run to the line quickly.
First down, Cougars.
They set the chains. The clock's running under 2 minutes here in the 4th quarter. Geronimo, Texas, Irwin Lee Field, homecoming night. Panthers up 48-31. He rolls right. He throws it, and he.
There's a holding.
It looks like a holding, and that was Colton Scholke on the far sideline playing corner. Mason Dotson, I think he made a double move on him, if I'm not mistaken, and he.
Yeah, we sell. I mean, I could even see it from up here. The jersey was pulled back, and you could see Scholke pulling back on that one. And now you see it'll be an automatic first down.
Yeah, that's going to move the ball.
10 yards.
A minute 43 left here in the 4th. Looks like Gerald does have 1 timeout left.
And and we were talking at halftime, during the halftime show, we were talking about, the Panthers could rack up over 600 yards and that sort of thing. But, man, your defense has got to get off the field, and that's what we haven't seen tonight in the second half. The Panthers cannot get off the field.
So trips to the far side, 1st and 10, just inside the 30-yard line. And so looks like you're going to have a.
I don't know if they got the timeout or the false start. Nope. It's going to be a false start. I saw the coach run up, and it didn't happen. – So Panthers catch a break there with 1:42 remaining here in the fourth quarter. The Panthers lead, as you see, 48-31.
So 1st and 15, he's back. He's got a bunch of pressure, and he's sacked.
Oh,
That's the first time tonight the Panthers have sacked him. He didn't have a lot of time. I'm not sure he was doing some window shopping, but it was close.
Yeah, I mean, either way, he didn't have much time. The Panthers came around, and the beauty of that is that he had nowhere to go. We were just talking about containment, stay in your lanes, and that's exactly what the Panthers did there.
That's correct, yes. And it's going to bring up second and very, very long. And the clock is ticking. We're going down to about a minute left. He's rolling to his left. He's in trouble again, and he's hit.
And that's intentional grounding.
And I tell you what, Landon Taylor popped that quarterback, Knebel, and
yeah, he's still down, though.
He's still down, yeah. Fortunately for the Cougars, and the clock stops with 58 seconds left here in the fourth quarter, but that's a little bit what we probably expected to see a little bit more of.
Yeah, and he hit the ground pretty hard. I think it wasn't the initial hit. It was actually the hit on the ground.
Kind of like his head bounced off the turf. And
yeah, I hope the young man's okay, though. Yeah, that's for sure.
He was definitely hit hard.
But this has been so far. This has been an ugly second half for. Really both teams.
It has. The Panthers. Just to run down real quick while we got the time. The first drive, the Panthers went on a 25-yard run by Antoine Mabane to go up 48-16, and they've scored a couple touchdowns. But the next one was the second drive for the Panthers was they went out on downs. The next one was a punt. The next one was a fumble, and then the last one was a punt. So we really haven't done much in the second half offensively.
And they've had a hard time getting off the field on third down plays and such.
Yeah, and the Panther defense did force a fumble there here in the third quarter.
We thought, now they're back in business and rolling, but they just haven't been able to get that back. So. The quarterback's the one being helped off the field. He's walking on his own, but that's Knebel, and we hope he's
okay. I tell you what,
pray for him.
He's a great athlete, and man, he's got a heck of an arm. If he's not playing on Saturdays,
somewhere.
somewhere.
Yeah,
somewhere. Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to Alabama or something, but he's got an arm, and he's an athlete. He punts. In the first half, he averaged 49 yards on 3 punts, and
if anything, he could be a punter, that's for sure. But his ability to keep looking down the field, I thought was impressive. He's always looking. For his going through his reads, his progressions. So he's looking all the way through it. And then keeping his eyes down the field and being smart about it. But these last two plays, the Panthers, found something where, we can get some pressure on the quarterback. So here you might see more Wildcat, as you had talked about with Price.
Jelani Price comes in at quarterback, and he just runs straight to the right side. He gets around the edge. Looks like he is forced out of bounds.
And there goes
a flag, and I think that's going to be on. It's going to be. I think it's going to be on the Cougars. It looked like he was driving a Panther defender.
Yeah, out of bounds and continued.
Right, and just didn't stop. So
let's see if this is a dead ball foul, like a personal foul that goes against Gerald. So
there's 51 seconds here, and I tell you what, this has been a long game. It's 10:34, so we're working on, 4 hours, huh?
Yeah, we've gone past the 3-hour mark, so.
Or 3 hours, I'm sorry, jeez.
Yeah, but we're working towards the 4 hours. With these last 51 seconds, though, I'm sure we'll get out of here before, or at least get off of the air by 3 hours. 4 hours. I'm sorry. Golly, now I'm getting my head spinning because it's like once it gets past 10 o'clock, I'm getting old, and so it gets a little fuzzy.
Right.
But also while they, once we, once you get out of this game, you're gonna like we talked about earlier. There's gonna be a lot of coaching points and things like that. So maybe there's a lot to take away from this game if you're a Panther, because you can go from here and says, hey, now definitely the players will buy in to what you need to work on to get ready for Wimberley.
That's right. I know that it's been a little bit of a sloppy second half for the Panthers, but I do agree with that. I think, and so Gerald is going to punt the ball. They line up in punt formation, and it was a heck of a punt. Jeez.
Yeah.
I don't know what they practice punting or something, but that was Spradley, and man, that was a.
And then he was a left footer, I thought. He kicked it with his left leg, and man, he put it way down there. That was like the longest fourth down and long that I think I've seen this year, or maybe in my broadcasting career, because I think that was over 50 yards of fourth down, and like I said, that was an actual plane ticket to get to the Dallas.
Dallas or yeah. I was gonna say it's probably it might have been Wimberley because it's that direction. So just past San Marcos, So.
Jeez, now the Panthers can just take a knee and run this thing out.
Yeah, they don't have any more timeouts, and so I would look for the Panthers to get in victory formation if we can get our linemen back out there. So we had some confusion.
Yeah, since it's taking so long here, I mean, we'll probably have an abbreviated post-game show.
Right.
But the hardest part, I'm gonna let you kind of start thinking about player of the game, because
looking at that.
We have we have several players, that we could always say, I mean, they played a very good game tonight, but I mean, in the first half, it was all Panthers all night. We thought all night long it was going to be that way, and this second half turned it around a little bit for Gerald. But Gerald has, they have to go and they have to play several teams. Like they're going to have to go play Lago Vista. That's still a decent team, and you never know how that will turn out either.
That's right. So that's going to be the ball game, folks. The clock hits 0. The Panthers are going to take it home, win the homecoming 48-31 over the Jarrell Cougars. And, man, I tell you what, Gerald did not go to sleep, and they fought coming out in that second half.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you have to say with Gerald, you never know. And it was exactly that, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. We didn't know which team was going to show up. And, man, in the second half, we saw the better of the two. And so I would kudos to Gerald. But I think, as we talked about, I still think this is going to be something that the coaches will be able to use as motivation to get ready for Wimberley.
Yeah, I think the coaches have plenty to talk about tomorrow in the film session here about the second half. But, I think it's good. I think, sometimes when you get a big lead and you run off with it, your head may get a little big. And but I think this is good. So Panthers come away with a comfortable victory, and
it's been one of those things to where we we need to look at the Panthers doing, what they did in that first half, and hopefully they can get back to that.
So we're going to cue to a quick break here for the Diamond sponsors. We're going to wait for Scott Kibbe to get up here. And the Panthers do win tonight, 48-31 over the Gerald Cougars. So they're going to go 2-0 in district. That's going to bring their overall record to 4-3. back here with the post-game show, and I tell you, we're waiting on Scott Kibbe to give us the final stats, but I think we've already made a decision here for the Panthers, and our player of the game tonight's going to be Antoine Mabane, number 1. Antoine ended up with three Panther touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, and I don't have the final stats on his rushing yardage, but I'm gonna venture to guess that it's probably over 150 yards.
Yeah.
Which for that's going to be for the second week in a row.
Right.
For Mabane, and man, I tell you, the kid's on fire, and you know what, Hank, that's exactly what we needed to going into Wimberley, to have that kind of speed and confidence, and man, we've got a bunch of running backs, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, and that's what you like, to have some depth going into that game against Wimberley, and Wimberley is just they're another team, and I mean, I always tell, we talk about this all the time. I mean, they put their uniforms and everything else on the same way we do. I mean,
right.
So there's the difference is going to be, in that game next week, it's going to be who comes in there and makes the least amount of mistakes, the mental mistakes I'm talking about.
Correct.
More than anything. And they have to have the mentality of that we're coming in to beat you no matter what, And so, and you got to execute, be focused, all those other little things. As Coach Blunt has always talked about, it's the little things that make the bigger difference.
And it is, and he'll probably go back to that, because it's the little things that's going to win next week or lose, right? So,
right.
So we'll see. It's always fun going to Wimberley. I love it.
Yeah.
We've been playing Wimberley, at least in my house, since my boys were in third grade. So
right. We're looking
I got one in 12th grade, but
around in 2010 or so, since we've been doing that basically 12 years or so, consistently. Before that, it was like a 19-year hiatus or so, but. Looking at Wimberley, we respect Wimberley, in what they do, and I think they have the same respect for for Navarro as well.
Right.
But because nobody comes into the game thinking they're just gonna, kill one or the other, but basically by scoring, 50 points on one versus the other. So, and we'll get your final stats coming up here as we're being now joined by Scott Kibbe. Scott, thanks for joining us again.
All right, but
and you got some stats on that ugly second half we played for the Panthers.
That's okay.
Even out a little bit. Not as nice as they were at halftime. But for Gerald, 17 first downs, 14 rushes, 15 yards, 323 yards on 30 out of 55 attempts. I ran out of room.
55 attempts.
I don't remember seeing that many passes in a game.
And how many yards passing?
For 323.
323, wow.
5 punts, 48-yard average, 3 fumbles, lost all 3. 18 penalties on Gerald, 140 yards.
Wow.
Wow.
That'll hurt you.
So really big. For the Panthers, 20 first downs, just 5 in the second half. 51 rushes, 471 yards, 105 passing yards on 2 out of 6 attempts with 1 interception. 2 punts for average of 40 yards. 4 fumbles, lost 3. 8 penalties for 95 yards. Mebane led the way for the Panthers. 13 carries, 157 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Taylor had 4 for 98 and touchdown. Blunt, 11 for 71.
Wow. So our player of the game, Scott, we'd want to let you know, it was Mebane. Yep. We figured, he made a big impact tonight, and usually, often and early, and that's what we saw as well. And so, and I mean, credit to the line. All he needs is a crease, and they do that. They make that quick trap, and they make the plays happen that are needed for Mebane to get out and into space. And I was really impressed though with Gerald's ability. In the passing game to really just, they stuck with it, and you thought, give it up by now, and no, and they stuck with it and made big plays out of it. I told Lance that if it wasn't for the drops and the fumbles, that this would have been quite a different game if you take away the drops that the receivers had and the fumbles they had, and it could have been a totally different outcome.
Gerald will come out of this with some confidence now. I mean,
Right.
with that second half, they say, hey, we played with them for a half. They can be a very dangerous team down the line for somebody. They'll play Lago Vista
playoffs.
for later,
Yeah.
but in the playoffs, this is not a team a lot of people are going to face. They could make a run.
That's
They
right.
could.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and we talked about it earlier. Their quarterback is top notch, and then probably the best passing quarterback that we'll probably see all year.
Yeah.
Because you look at Wimberley, and I've watched several of their games, and they of course they score a bunch of points, but it's not the traditional Wimberley way. It's a lot of it's the zone read on the ground with Stover. I think he's a sophomore quarterback, so it'll be interesting to see what happens next week.
Yeah, they're doing a good job as always, making the most of what they've got. And it was sophomore quarterback this year. They're still 7-0.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're still 7-0.
What did you say, Scott? That we helped Gerald's rushing yards?
15 rushing yards.
15
Those
rushing
two big sacks at the end count
Oh,
against
I
them.
got
So
you.
that,
Yeah,
that
that
doesn't
hurt 'em.
help. But still, they did not much tonight at all. A little bit of yards in the second half with number 6. They will find some room, but very little. So.
Wow. Well, it's kind of like we talked about it too during the broadcast, that the coaches will have some good coaching points and use this second half as motivation, to get the players going, to buy in, to get ready for Wimberley, and I think we'll see that as well.
I think we saw both, and I'll probably write about this in my article, but it's both the best and the worst of this season with the Panthers. First half was some of the best, like the Lago Vista game. Second half, a lot of those things, those penalties, those mistakes, and special teams really did not look good for tonight after looking so good last week against Lago Vista.
Right. The coverage wasn't all that great either especially on that one kickoff.
Yeah.
And we were looking at some of the things that they could have done better. But again, still the first half great half for the Panthers. Second half not so great. But hey, you do what you can to win. A win's a win. No matter what.
You take the win and you go in. Yes, you got a chance to win the district next week. So that's what you want.
Yeah, next week district championship, district. For 13-4A Division I on the line. So wow. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I mean, going to Wimberley, hey, like Lance said earlier, it's always fun. It's always fun.
Yeah.
A good, competitive atmosphere every time the Panthers and the Texans play.
It means something special. This week will mean something special. Remind me of high school rivalries when I was in school, and just something that was different. People didn't concentrate on classes as well all week, and even the teachers were talking about it. So it's be a lot of fun. Fun to have a good rivalry like that.
Well, around here they call it Wimbo Week. So,
Wimbo.
And I think we're all excited because where we started the season to where we're sitting at today, we're exactly where we wanted to be.
Yep. All right. Well, Scott, thank you for the stats, and we'll get to check out your article this Sunday, and you'll also have a preview for Wimberley's game in Wednesday's edition. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing that, and thanks again, Scott, for joining us.
All right. You bet. Thank you.
Have a great night, Scott.
All right, Lance.
Hank, any final thoughts?
Yeah, man. My final thoughts is that bury this second half, throw it away, don't even remember it, flush it, get rid of it, and then go into Wimberley with some real, just you got to be ready mentally and physically, where you are coming in and saying, we're going to take this, game from you no matter what. We're going to take this district game. It's ours to take.
Right.
And, it's all about, we always say sports is basic. I don't believe in the, getting outside the 100%. I say it's 90%, mental and 10% physical.
Right.
And if you can get your mindset in place to where you can beat these guys, you feel confident, that's half the battle. We just got to go after them and get after it and be as physical as possible. But, just believe in yourself, really believe in what you can do, and believe in that, in your teammate that's standing right there next to you, believe he's got your back.
That's right. So So yeah, it's officially Wimbo week. I will say it, and man, I can't, couldn't got here soon enough. And anyways, it was a fun night. The Panthers take a commanding homecoming win home, and nice fashion. Second half wasn't quite what we wanted, but we still ended up on top, 48-31. So I think that's going to do it for tonight. It was a long game tonight. Jeez.
Yep.
What we were expecting, but anyways.
And we got to thank the students out there for, putting this and keeping this all together, and Javier and Mariana, all of them out there helping us out. We really appreciate it, and appreciate the Panther Posse for, being the big sponsors behind this, making this happen. And so, kudos to all those involved to make this broadcast available to a Panther Nation.
That's right. So we will be in Wimberley, Texas next week at Wimberley High School at Texan Stadium at 7:30 on Friday night. And, Hank, I just thought of it. We might be doing a volleyball game here on Tuesday night.
All right. Well,
I think we need to talk to Mr. Scarborough about that. But
well, if we can get one done, we get one in there. We'll be there on the. But check the Facebook on the and check the YouTube channel
as well
for Navarro Panther Network. And if we can get that one on the air, we'll definitely do it.
Well, awesome. Well, everyone have a good night. You've been watching Panther football on the Navarro Panther Network, powered by the Panther Posse. Have a good night, everyone.